Hey my students, how you doing? Hope you having good day. In this video, I'm gonna talk about my student Deku. What if Deku had element bending? So what he gonna do in battle, the man with quirky powers, so watch till end. And subscribe for more, also like this video, it helps me to stay motivated. And don't forget to check it author of the story and show some love, name of this fanfic is Elemental Midoriya by KameFig. Also if you have any complaints about videos, feel free to comment, I will try to improve them. Let's jump in video. Izuku Midoriya is my name and element control is my quirk. I have control over 4 elements as well as their subcategories. When I was defending someone from my childhood friend, Kaken, also known as Katsuki Bakugo, my quirk abruptly manifested. I was defending him and a stone wall stopped Kaken and his group of thugs from hitting me while I defended myself. I believed that my peculiarity gave me power over the ground. But when I had to defend people against Kaken in different situations, I discovered that I could control the fire, water, earth, and air. I gradually honed these abilities while protecting others from Kaken. Kaken's peculiarity, explosion, gained strength with time, which caused him to lose his cool and become more enraged with me for standing up for those he felt was right. My courage to challenge him increased in return. We were competitors. I became enamored with the notion of helping people as All Might did after seeing the film's premiere in Japan. I developed an infatuation with heroes and, thanks to my fast thinking, I filled numerous notebooks with information on them and their potential. Since All Might went to UA, I wanted to become a hero and enroll there. So, with my mother's help and continued research, we located one where individuals with elemental control arrived for training. Being able to manage 4 aspects made me stand out from the others there, some people could only handle one, or they mix different kinds of peculiarities. Here, I picked up various martial arts moves and strategies to help me better control my eccentricity. When I was able to control fire and freeze water, turning it into steam and fog, I learned how to cope with heat and cold more effectively, as well as how to defend against other elemental oddities. Together with my new friends, I discovered numerous intricate ways during my stay here. Like my father, I was able to control the water in the air, the sand, and even the fire. I could even put out the fire and smoke. I also discovered that I could sense the people around me who touched the floor when I was barefoot and used my earthly talents. I also used new modern moves to make rapid work of the elements, but I was able to manage with substantial power loss in the process. I also discovered that there were specific periods of the day when 2 of my powers were strongest. My fire power increased in the bright and sunny weather, while my water power increased at night under the full moon. I got some minor burns and scars from not being too careful, but I'm becoming stronger and learning new things. Scars from using dirt and water, burned from my fire. I never had any issues with air. I become faster, more toned, and stronger physically from the general training and learning exercises. I was able to manage the stress of shifting the earth because I was faster, which also made me a faster hitter. Toning was more of an unintentional cosmetic. I picked things up so quickly that I assisted my senseis in teaching the newcomers who would come into the dojo. People's various eccentricities were accounted for by multiple senseis. I was able to grasp my skills in high school, the best years of my life. I was a loner in middle school since most people thought that becoming a hero was more about money and glory. It's not. Everyone avoided me as a result of my criticisms. Our career instructor declared that we will all enroll in the hero course throughout our lesson. Kaken yelled, smugly grinning, teach. Don't lump me in here with these rejects. These extras don't have what it takes, some of them have useless quirks. Yeah. I'm looking at you with the weird eyes. He was yelled at by many in the room, who also called him a bully and a jerk. After glancing over his notes, the instructor inquired, "Oh, Bakugo, you're planning on going to UA, right?" The idea that Kaken would visit that place startled everybody. Only a few select people get in. They have a super low acceptance rate. They yelled. He yelled his conviction to the class, "I'm the only one here who can get it. I aced the mock exam. I'm top in class. I'll be the #1 her and trump All Might as being the most popular." I looked at him blankly and remarked, "You won't be very successful if all you think about is fame and money." The teacher did nothing except fan Kaken's flames, he was always rooting for us to battle it out the elemental user against the explosion. He forced a smile, "Oh yeah, Midoriya, didn't you apply to UA as well?" My desk exploded, sending me flying out of my chair. With an evil expression on his face, he exclaimed, "Deku. You think you can get into UA? You're just an extra with a weaker quirk than me." I've seen him do this enough times to know that it's his standard intimidation technique. Heated palms and a frightening stare followed by an explosion to get someone to back down. I spit back at him, letting out a little fire at the end. I will get into UA. I will become a hero, one who saves. I don't care about fame. In an attempt to defuse the situation he had made, the lecturer said, now students, get in your seats, you're not allowed to use your quirks in school. He preferred for us to quarrel outside of his classroom. After I finished wiping mine, Kakin went back to his desk, leaving a tiny burn mark from his little explosion. Class ended quickly. We got ready for our final class and headed home. Kakin reached inside my backpack and took out one of the notebooks I was still using. He took it in both hands and exploded it, not so much that a million pages were destroyed as others were simply burned. Hero analysis for the future, 13. Have you been taking notes on heroes? Geez, useless and a perv. Kakin was someone I knew. We are enemies now, but we were pals once. However, all he would destroy were the walls of ice and earth that I had built to protect myself from him. We used to tell each other jokes that onlookers couldn't hear during our brief arguments. We are strengthening one another. I prefer to save, he likes to win. We are, in a sense, the two halves of All Might, the ones with the power to both win and save. As he leaves with his remaining friends, the bullies with the long fingers and the one with wings, Kakin chastises me even more. In case there are any embers still inside, I take the notepad and give it a quick pat down. I tuck it inside my suitcase and head back home. As usual, I pass through a tunnel on my way home. Sludge attacks me out of the blue. "Aw gee, thanks kid, I'll use you for a cloak to get away from that hero. Don't resist, it'll only hurt more." I make an unsuccessful attempt to pry the goo out of my mouth. Hold on, I tell myself. Mud is simply contaminated water. I may freeze him to the wall with my peculiar self-defense move. And that's precisely what I do. I extend my arms, pushing outward with my palms while repeating until I feel the sludge leave my body. I manage to keep the sludge villain at bay and release a frigid breath that swiftly free-wraps him to the wall while preserving his ability to move his eyes. There came a voice from the sewer, "Get ready to face justice, villain." Since we were in a tunnel and the fire would melt the sludge villain, I readied an earthbending position, even though I wasn't sure if it was a vigilante or a hero. I noticed long hair poking out of the sewer, and then I saw a big, strong man emerge from it slowly, seeming confused. Everything is possible. I pass out right away. When I wake up, there are little slaps and police everywhere chipping away at the villain's wall-mounted body parts. It was All Might who gave me the slap. When I got my backpack and pulled out my hero analysis notebook to the next blank page, I noticed he had already signed it. "You're All Might. It's really you. Wow, you're so much bigger in person. It's an honor, sir. Can I get your autograph?" I bow to him several times and say, "Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It will be an heirloom. A family treasure." He gives me a thumbs up and asks me a series of questions, including my name, age, and peculiarity, in addition to the police. They should know that I utilized my peculiarity to expel the sludge monster out of my body and freeze him when he assaulted me and started suffocating me. I was afraid I would be arrested for breaking the law by using my quirk in public, but All Might and the police reassured me that I had served my civic duty by using my quirk to defend myself and catch the man before he could harm any more citizens. Point of view of All Might, Izuku Midoriya is really amazing. He must be strong because he can capture this villain with ease. Having utilized his peculiarity in public, he was concerned. He wants to enforce the law, I know that. The ability to control elements seems like a strong quirk. Able to both save and win. I require a replacement. His physique appears to be a good vessel for one for all, thus that will be a significant power boost. He took a chance on his life and pursued it in order to win. He's clever in how he uses his quirks. If he had used fire or earth, he would have damaged property, and if he had used air, the villain would have been dispersed so much that it would have been difficult to apprehend him, I reasoned. I still have that time constraint, so I have to leave in a little while, but I'll follow him soon. I must be off now. As a hero's job, we must also fight time to help citizens feel safe. I'll see you around, young Midoriya. The young Midoriya interrupted, saying, "Wait, I want to ask you something." He must be curious to learn more about me. I pause and turn to face him. "Do you think I can be a selfless hero who saves others with a smile as you do?" It's all about him. If he's asking me, then he must be in need of some reassurance. Does this imply that many others don't think highly of him? Young Midoriya, I do believe you can become that hero you describe. I'm sure you'll become the hero everyone looks up to. From Midoriya's perspective, I couldn't contain my tears when I heard All Might's remarks. I can now become the hero I want to be, according to my idol. I wiped away my tears and felt a burst of wind as I watched All Might leap into the sky. After I dried my eyes, the cops offered to drive me home as a token of their gratitude for my assistance. I said thank you for the ride. I was shocked right before I left for home. All Might said, "I am here, young Midoriya." In a single day, twice. Hey All Might. I couldn't talk to you with so many people around. I want to offer you something. Would you like to hear this offer? Why yes. You will be my heir, the one I raised to be the leader of the next generation. Ah. All Might spat fire and smoke shot out of his body, leaving behind a scrawny towering man. Is this a cruel joke? I get into a combat position and ask, who are you? I won't use my quirk if this man is wounded. Ugh, guess my secret is out now, well, to you at least. I would have shown you my true form either way. I'm All Might. I tell him, you're All Might. No, you're just a fake. Well, you know those guys who try to look buff at the pool or beach, it's like that. All Might informs me. Though it may sound absurd, it's possible that All Might just possesses a metamorphosis quirk that doubles as an emitter. Okay, let me ask you questions then to prove to me you're actually All Might. His little laugh trailed off as he added, sure, whatever gets this done. What did you tell me earlier? I told you that you can be a hero after you stop that sludge villain. I believe it. I took a moment to think about it, aside from police officers, no one could have conceivably told anyone that All Might told me that, but they were there with me, and they didn't appear to really care. Okay, I believe you All Might. Now, what's this offer about training me? He stands tall and widens his arms, saying, I want to train you, young Midoriya, to become the #1 hero of the next generation. I want you to inherit my quirk. This quirk has been passed down for 8 generations, and I want you to be the 9th. Izuku Midoriya, will you become my successor, inherit my quirk, and become the next generation's #1 hero? This surprises me, so much so that I grumble to myself. Wait, inheriting a quirk? But I'd have to be his kid in order to inherit a quirk, or does he mean he's going to pass it down to me? But then that would break all that we know about quirks and change the possibilities for those who are quirkless. Geez kid. Do you want my awesome quirk or not? I admire him, and I speak with confidence and a proud expression. I respond back to him. Yes. I will accept your offer All Might. He wraps his fingers around my lips, wanna say that any louder kid? If you want to know my real name for public appearances with me in this form, my name is Toshinori Yagi. Call me Yagi since I'm going to be your teacher, okay Yagi-sensei, I accept your offer. But the great. Now, Yagi transformed into All Might and removed a hair strand. I now pass on to you, the power that has been grown for 8 generations, and gift it to you, a worthy successor. Now, eat this. What? Well, you have to consume my DNA in order for your body to get the quirk. This is one of the less gross options. Okay, well do you have a water bottle or anything to help it go down? All Might reached into his pocket and took out a bottle of water, saying, as a matter of fact, I do. I pick up the water bottle and the hair strand. I attempt to swallow the hair, but it becomes lodged in my throat, so I sip water from the bottle till it subsides. As All Might shrank down to Yagi, I questioned, so how long is this going to take? Well, your body still has to process it. It should kick in later tonight. I won't be there, so try and sleep early, don't go telling anyone about it, except your mother if you choose to do so. Come to Dagaba Beach tomorrow morning, sleep early tonight. He touches my shoulder. He walks out, saying, we're going to train tomorrow. I return home and update my mother on the day's activities. I fill her in on everything and beg her to keep quiet. She is worried about me, but yet trusts me and is proud of me. I wash the dishes, take a shower, and get ready for the weekend after we eat dinner together. I go to bed and rest, taking All Might's advice to go to bed early. I got up early on Saturday in order to meet with Yagi-sensei, sometimes known as All Might, at Dagaba Beach. I should really just keep calling him Yagi-sensei, calling him All Might would just draw more attention, I reasoned with myself. I get dressed and put on a basic all-M shirt, some light-colored track trousers, and shoes. I don't think I'll wear them much at the beach, because I can earthbend a little better barefoot or with thin soles. I take a piece of fruit from the refrigerator and hurry outside, where the sun is beginning to come up and it's unexpectedly warm. I jog quickly and reach the beach, which is strewn with trash. I spit it out, wow, this beach looks like garbage. I look to see who is speaking, and it's Yagi-sensei. Well, you're going to clean it, kid. You want me to scrub the entire beach, I hear you ask. I ask him emphatically. Yes, for a few reasons, Yagi-sensei clarified. In the beginning, heroes worked in the civil service. Before the profession of the hero, we had neither laws nor real jobs. So, the most of it was community service. Such as tidying up parks and other areas. But his organization, the Four-Armed Hero Fourth Kind, frequently cleans up neighboring parks. Yes, is that the reason you would like me to tidy the beach? I answer. Alright, that's correct. There once was beauty on this seashore. With a regretful and proud expression on his face, Yagi-sensei turned to face me and said, so I'm going to help train you here. My old mentor, the 7th holder of One for All, helped train me here a little. I would also like to know how far your oddity extends. I'll briefly explain the origins of the quirk One for All, which is really 2 quirks. Is 2 quirks one for all? I inquire, my expression bewildered. Yes, the ability to inherit peculiarities as well as a tendency to hoard energy. Together, they became One for All. Additionally, it possesses unique qualities that address both quirks and quirklessness. Are those without quirks also eligible to inherit power? Yes, but they also need to learn how to utilize it and undergo a lot more training. I was, really not quirky at all. Fortunately, my mentor was able to locate me, train me, and grant me complete control over its power, Yagi-sensei said. I have a strange habit. Would my quirk come with the same power you have as well, I inquired. Probably not, no. One for all is a power-up oddity, based on what is known about it. That is to say, if you already possess a quirk, it only makes you more powerful. Consequently, your element control quirk would be greatly enhanced. Due to a peculiarity, the sixth user of One for All was able to significantly boost his power and reach a level where he could grow it exponentially. One for All also progressively gained strength. In contrast to the first user, the power level is different. I share some of the blame for that. So in a video game, One for All is equivalent to receiving a stat bonus. Yagi-sensei chuckles at me as I attempt to make sense of it for myself. Yeah, when you phrased it that way, child. He smiled and said, now, let's get to you cleaning up this beach. For you, it should be passive, no need to think about One for All, probably just your power output when you're using your quirk. He then walked over and down the stairs going to the beach. It's your quirk to utilize. The main goals here are to increase your power output and teach you control. Which school are you intending to attend, by the way? I didn't inquire. As we descend the stairs towards the beach, I take a seat on the very last step to remove my shoes and socks. I'm considering attending UA, the same school where you learned how to be a hero. I turned to face him. He smiled at me and laughed. Well, in 10 months is the entrance exam. Thus, we have ample time to complete this task. His expression changed from a smile to one of perplexity. What is the purpose of removing your shoes and socks? The trash here may contain jagged and pointy objects. Well, if I don't have anything covering my feet, I can control the sand and earth much better. I'm able to wear shoes with thin soles, however the majority seem very pricey. Since my family had to spend a lot of money on martial arts training to help me with my oddity, I make an effort to keep within their means. I clarify, saying, and since I had to buy some clothes from the dojo, I know thin soles work the best. Well, you can go barefoot here. However, I could assist you with the shoe issue. I don't want you to hurt a body part that is necessary to your eccentricity, my kid. I said to myself, what the hell, it's like he's treating me like a son, why is he so willing to help me? I get everything else, the quirk, support, training, now to go and buy me something. Yagi-sensei, you don't have to, I'll be alright. I've been harmed by my own peculiarity. For my oddity, it took some time to get used to the heat, cold, and weight. I tell my teacher, at the moment, I want to see if I can get rid of that gigantic fridge. He gives me a friendly smile and retreats. I think to myself, I should try and go for earthbending and crush it with a rock. Yeah, I bet that'll be cool. All Might is watching me, I want to make a good impression. But I shouldn't go all out and burn myself out. But I don't know what element to use, I'm also not trained in simultaneous bending yet. Every move I make with earthbending sounds like the rumbling of boulders. I have closed fists and slashed them down in an X formation, turning into an open palm, and a stone wall rises. I shift and stomp, the stone wall levitates, and I punch the air, sending the stone wall flying and crushing the fridge. Good job, kid, but remember, we need to clean up the beach, not make more of a mess. Said Yagi-sensei. I laugh a little and pat the back of my head, oh yeah, forgot about that. Over the next few hours, Yagi-sensei pushed me to go beyond boundaries that I had previously been unable to reach. He was absolutely right when he said that One for All was passive. I was able to lift more weight, make boulders, and discover that my contemporary moves were stronger as well, the same speed, but with more power and an increased number of elements available to me. I was also able to reach melting points with my fire, and I could freeze water by just thinking about it. I was also able to transform sand into a dense solid and back into sand, and my ability to see through earthbending was much clearer now. At the end of the day, which was probably around 3 in the afternoon, Yagi-sensei wanted to discuss tomorrow with me. Young Midoriya, I'm pleased with the advancements you say you've achieved. Before, I wasn't sure how to regulate your peculiarity, but now that you've gained this stat boost, as you put it, I'm proud of the creative ways you use it, like levitating rubbish off the beach and bringing it back, or uncovering more trash hidden beneath the sand. We'll be working on odd jobs tomorrow instead of trash. The garbage truck is on its way, and you've done a lot of cleaning up. We'll declare today's work completed. Your strength astounds me, Midoriya. I smiled back at him, my hero is happy for me. I'm grateful, Yagi-sensei. I respond to him, I'll make sure to give it even more effort at training tomorrow. Midoriya, I have 2 more things to tell you. We'll meet here, but we're going to train somewhere else, somewhere less crowded. We're heading to UA tomorrow, however, please keep your buddies in the dark. Instead, let your mother know where you will be spending the day. I discussed it with the principal while you were cleaning up the beach and he is okay with you using the space for training. He is also aware of our agreement according to which I would mentor and train you. Although I'm sure you have what it takes to go into UA, you won't receive a referral. I wanted to chat to you about your academics because I know you're intelligent. How am I doing academically? I want you to continue to monitor it. I know it's amazing to practice with your idol, but don't forget to study. Getting into UA requires more than just a unique personality. Attend to your own needs. If you're okay with it, we'll meet at approximately 7. 7, it's all powerful, I answer him. Everyone could. All Might, where are you? A few random bystanders overheard. Yagi-sensei whispered to me, Midoriya, repeat after me, oh never mind, I was mistaken. Oh my goodness, I made a mistake to ensure they could hear me, I said it out. Oh, okay. Someone said in response. It's very great that All Might, the #1 hero, is now my teacher, but I really should learn to check my tone. When I got home from the beach with All Might, Yagi-sensei, I realized how hungry I was. My mom was cooking, and because she had the weekends off from her office work, I could tell just by the fragrance of the food she was preparing. Hey, mama. I've returned from my training, I say, taking off my shoes, and I notice her working on something in the tiny kitchen. Hello Izuku, how did you find it? You must be worn out. I'm not exhausted, but I sure am hungry. It went by fairly smoothly, and I was shocked by how much I can now accomplish. Well, I cooked us some sandwiches because I knew you would be hungry. My mother smiled warmly at me. She was surprised by this, how involved All Might was being, almost fatherly. I know times had been hard since Dad went overseas to work, but we are both grateful for him in our lives, otherwise we wouldn't be where we are. I told her about the training, cleaning up the beach to find my new limits. I also made sure to tell her about tomorrow, going to a location on UA's campus. Isashi Midoriya, my father, tries to come visit us as much as possible, usually once a year for holidays. He works at a well-paying job and he sends us a portion of his income to cover the cost of the flat. I also inherited his fire quirk, which is that I can breathe fire, and with my quirk, I can create the illusion that I could. Therefore, on his birthday, I show him a fire trick that I have recorded when I'm at the dojo. Whether it's throwing around a fireball with other people who have my mother, Inko Midoriya, has always been there. I told her about my quirk right away after defending a boy from Kaken, and she immediately video called my dad about it. She helped convince my dad to allow me to train my quirk at a dojo. She also encouraged me to become an All Might fanboy, buying me onisis for every costume he owned when I was younger. My favorite is his Golden Age costume and we would play hero games. She has always been there for me, and All Might was my rock. The way life unfolds and the gifts one might receive are so peculiar, even a terrible turn of circumstances can be seen in a positive light. Katsuki Bakugo, also known as Kaken, is my best buddy since we were babies. He is several months older than I am, but we only know each other because our mothers knew each other in high school, and Kaken's mother, Mitsuki, actually introduced my parents. Before his quirk showed up, it seemed as though Kaken and I would never be able to be apart. Everyone complimented him on having such a strong quirk, which made him feel superior. I was also complimented, but after I showed people my still developing quirk, he told me that my quirk would never be as strong as his. We have fought many battles over the years, for which our parents have chastised us. However, I must thank Kaken for encouraging me to become stronger and for teaching me new things about my quirk, such as the fact that I rarely use my airbending, firebending, or waterbending. The first time I did, I unintentionally sucked out the air in his lungs when I pulled back with my arms, activating it. When I realized what I had done, I stopped and ran home. There's still a bridge between us, but we don't talk like normal friends do. We tease each other during our fights, calling each other names such as Dirt Boy, Firecracker, Airhead, Blasty, and even Hot Hands. That last one was lame, but in the heat of the moment, his hands heated up, and once I said it, he laughed with me, and we stopped fighting. We have a sustainable connection. My goal is to save people, and Kaken's is to win and prove he's the best. Our motivations for becoming heroes are the same. Both of us want to save people while grinning and destroying the enemy. I went to a dojo where people with elemental quirks train, and part of the reason I went was because of Kaken. I was able to control the element of earth when I first enrolled. I soon learned about water and needed more instructors. I then learned about air, and the last one I learned was fire. Out of all of these, air was the one I struggled with the most because I had suffocated Kaken with it. Nevertheless, I made friends with the different quirks. The most memorable was Inasa, whose quirk was whirlwind, slightly stronger than my airbending, and he helped me overcome my difficulties with it. We made small tricks together there, like having small objects fly in circles between our hands, and we even learned how to control the air to float a little. A few pro heroes came to visit the dojo. They all had quirks dealing with different elements, so they encouraged me to do more. I discovered that my quirk was very similar to pro heroes like Pixie Bob and the Water Hose duo. I felt a connection to Endeavor, too, for the fire, but he wasn't really a hero I looked up to. His eyes seemed so cruel and angry, and even though he could control 4 elements, he never spoke to me. There weren't many notable pros who dealt with air, but I knew Inasa, and I wanted to be pro heroes, so we could be the ones to show the next generation of air quirk users what they could accomplish, and we'd be memorable. Countless individuals have contributed to my development and strength. They have all shaped me into the hero I aspired to be, the one who smiled while saving lives. Sunday morning, Midoriya wakes up full of enthusiasm and eagerness to face the day. It seems like he wants to see the whole extent of my quirk now that One for All is supporting me, so I'll be heading to UA with All Might to work on it. I don't know what he's gonna have me do or where we're gonna go, he said to himself. All Might had sent him a text message. All Might. I'm curious about your shoe size, young Midoriya. Young Midoriya. I wear a size 27. 5, for the purpose of this question, I literally just chose a size 8. 5 US shoe and adjusted it to the Japanese size. All Might. I have to grant you a temporary pass for our training, so there's no reason why you can't get ready and get at the UA gates by 9 AM. Midoriya the Young. I'll be there. With his notebook in hand to jot down any new moves or abilities he might learn from working with All Might, Midoriya had prepared by eating a meal, changing into clothes appropriate for the situation, and packing a bag to hold his belongings, since he knew he would have to take off his shoes and socks and didn't want to leave them out where he could lose them. He also wrote a note for his mother before leaving. He arrived a little sooner than he would have liked, having taken the train there, and sat outside the establishment to inform All Might of his early arrival. Almost as if All Might had known, he placed the pass, a small key card, on top of Midoriya's head. Hey, little one, come on. I appreciate your proactive approach of arriving early, declared All Might, assuming the shape of Small Might, offering Midoriya a helping hand. He says, thanks, Yogi-sensei. They strike up a little conversation, with Midoriya still in his fanboy phase after spending so much time with All Might, he has a dazzle in his eyes. They had boarded a bus that had a small mouse, dog, or bear animal on it. Hi there. I am Nezu, the principal. Greetings, Izuku Midoriya. I'm going to follow you around to get a sneak peek at the upcoming generation. You will be receiving instruction from the ultimate hero and the principal of the high school you wish to attend, so don't worry. Yes, child, that's what I meant to tell you. All Might remarked, but as compensation, I got you something, open the box. Principal Nezu shook hands with Midoriya, who then peered into the box and found that it contained shoes. All Might received a wide-eyed glance. Red seemed appropriate since I saw your red shoes when we initially met. I can take you to the store if you'd want to get a different color. All Might grinned and asked, are you fond of them? They were simple red shoes with thin soles, but Midoriya could feel the thickness of them and knew that they would be wonderful for doing earthbending as well. Also, since One for All would strengthen his abilities, they would be great to use and protect his feet. Thanks, All Might, they're great. Midoriya grinned broadly. But why? Well, I just wanted to make sure you didn't cut your feet on anything sharp on the ground while you cleaned up the beach. My friend was able to custom manufacture these to be extremely thin, as I had requested. Midoriya's heart was about to burst into a waterfall of tears. His family had done so much for him, and the pleasures they had provided were more than sufficient. Now, personalized shoes from All Might himself were more than enough to bring his heart full circle. So, Midoriya, how does it feel to be the One for All inside of you? Apart from your own peculiarity, do you possess any talent similar to All Might? Nezu inquired. Not in my opinion as of yet. However, I now have more control, and this has significantly reduced the physical burden on my body. Well, it would be a good idea to test it where we're heading. After some more conversation and arriving at the location, they stepped off the bus and discovered themselves at a big building in the shape of a dome. Is there water in this place? Midoriya inquired. Principal Nezu said, yes, more than enough water. Midoriya. Is the ground uncooked? Sand. Hard as concrete. There is raw ground and concrete, but there's no sand. Alright. Is there someone with the ability to heal wounds? I could end up burning myself or seriously injuring myself with my fire and dirt if I find a new limit. Yes, we have a healer at UA in the event something goes wrong, Midoriya. As soon as they enter the building and see the classes are in session, they proceed to a break room where they watch the students practicing disaster rescue drills. Midoriya notices some rising stars, but the two most striking oddities he notices are the guy with the octopus fingers and the person who can pass through objects. Midoriya tries to puzzle out where he's seen these people before, figuring it must be the UA sports festival that aired throughout Japan. It appears that you are observing Class 2A. They seem like such a promising group. Nezu uttered those words. After Class 2A left, they walked down the facility steps, where Nezu stayed with All Might while they waited in the break room, while Nezu served Midoriya an All Might tea. We want to see your potential maximums in controlling the earth for the time being, little Midoriya. Thus, please try to raise as much of the earth as you can. All Might said, we need to see how much you can do so we can determine how we should train you for the next 10 months. All right, with assurance, Midoriya said, I'll try my hardest. Can I use it in a creative way? Obviously. Freedom is something that we here at UA cherish. Nezu motivated after walking 10 steps up the stairs. Midoriya took a deep breath and braced himself for the tension. He thought to himself, okay, haven't strained myself in a while. Gotta be prepared to sweat and maybe burn a little today. Midoriya assumed a broad, rigid stance, balled his hands into fists by his waist, and raised them up, palms down, as the ground rumbled slightly, forming a sizable, miniature version of UA High. I just have to lift it, this wasn't as taxing as I thought it would be. Inhaling deeply again, Midoriya executed a squat lift, the sound of the granite fracturing beneath his feet like an earthquake, rising far into the air as he stood and raised his arms. Absolutely amazing. Midoriya, I had no idea you possessed this much power. And with so much might. That has to be 10 tons or so. Nezu and All Might both cried out, although in different parts. Midoriya set it down gingerly and took a seat, breathing heavily and perspiring. All right, Midoriya, you can take a little break. It's clear that you're quite strong because you can lift and control the earth. I want to watch how well you can manage your flames next. Principal Nezu exclaimed in a positive manner. Midoriya handed him some water and he quickly drank it before thanking All Might. Yagi-sensei, thank you for the shoes, I appreciate the gesture and I'm glad they're able to help me with my earthbending. He replied, it's no problem young Midoriya, I just didn't want to see you get hurt so soon. Responded Yagi. Midoriya and UA exchanged a smile before he turned to face the statue and used both of his outstretched fists to create a stream of fire. He then stared with his old limit and increased the flame's temperature. The fire that came out of him never burned him, only when it returned and the heat occasionally became uncomfortable, but this time, he didn't feel it when he went to his old limit. As he increased the flame's temperature, it started to glow brighter, starting from rough with orange and yellow, and gradually turning into a bright blue. The concrete started to break and crumble away, but surprisingly, Midoriya wasn't bothered by the fire as much as he had anticipated. He said to himself, I have to go plus ultra, closed his eyes, and willed his fire to get hotter. His blue flames became stronger, tearing up the pavement, blowing sections of it back, and even forcing Midoriya back. Nezu and All Might had to cover their eyes from the dazzling glare, which made Midoriya feel hot and uncomfortable, even with his eyes closed. I need to stop, this is becoming too much for me, Midoriya pondered. I hope he's not hurting himself, All Might said, worried about his replacement. Coming to a stop, he saw that, in comparison to the distance he had really traveled 5 feet back. The sculpture of UA appeared to be a crumble of concrete. So your fire has force then. Nezu cried out, you can use it to push objects and break it away. Take a break and we'll check on your water and air. Midoriya decided to take a break and spoke with All Might. I've never been so hot or been thrown back onto the ground, but in the air, I can push myself after a jump, so it felt really different when I got to the blue flames. Not that I was harmed either, but I felt that this was different and it worried All Might. Since the first time I was able to control the air, I have never been afraid of my talents, admitted Midoriya. He perceived All Might glancing at him as he felt a hand on his shoulder. It's normal to be afraid when you have a lot of power. Just that I was spared witnessing your injuries. It's only normal for you to be able to control your fear, Midoriya. Now that it's a part of you, you have to accept that. All Might attempted to console his successor, saying, I was scared too at the power I have, but with time you'll be able to overcome this and control your fear. After thanking him for the advice, Midoriya made his way over to the ocean. Midoriya, you have creative freedom. I want to see what you can do. Nezu gave encouragement. Creative freedom. I can try to freeze a tornado made of water, but I also have to know when to stop. Midoriya removed his shoes and stepped into the water, focusing on the man-made lake and moving his arms in a circular pattern as the water turned and rose like water in a sewer. Amazingly, young Midoriya, Nezu cried out. When the water level approached the top of the facility, Midoriya started to freeze it. The water started to rise and even drew the ship in. Midoriya said to himself, I have to stop this before that ship gets damaged, I don't want to be responsible for damages. He stopped moving, put his palms to his mouth and exhaled, turning the water into ice as he stretched his arms upward and outward. Do you want me to return it to water? Midoriya replied, all these movements, heavy weight, high temperatures, control, gets me kinda tired guys. Yes, please do so if you can, Nezu answered. Reaching out, Midoriya kicked fire from his feet to get the water off his legs and put on the new shoes All Might had given him. He moved his arms up with loose hands, then stuck them up and slowly moved them down. In doing so, the ice melted into water from the top to the rest of the artificial lake. Alright, so you guys want to watch me bend my air then Midoriya inquired obviously Nezu said, sounding ecstatic as usual. I didn't really see it when we cleaned up the beach, but I'd like to see it now. All Might said. Midoriya moved in the direction of the spot where he had destroyed the UA copy. This boost can probably get me a few meters high now. I can probably do a trick that Inasa and I used to do to float above the ground, Midoriya thought to himself. Thoughts of the air swirling around him, lifting him off his feet, and the air moving faster and faster, like a tornado or cyclone, caused Midoriya to float dozens of meters above everything, satisfied his need for movement. When he opened his eyes, he saw Yagi in his buff All Might form, holding onto a railing by the stairs and also holding onto Principal Nezu. Do you wish me to cease? This is becoming very difficult to keep up trying to get through to All Might and Nezu, Midoriya shouted. Nezu communicated with All Might and All Might spoke back. We don't want you to injure yourself, so please stop young Midoriya if you feel that you must. Alright I'm not sure I can land safely without hurting from being so high up, Midoriya said, gradually reducing his power. Once he was about 2 meters off the ground, he stopped bending the air safely. Just amazing, Midoriya. How well you can move and how much wind you can catch has really astonished me Nezu remarked. How about a recommendation based on your unique characteristic Midoriya gave Nezu a startled glance. Choose from All Might, fulfilling UA's core values, reaching new heights for my eccentricity, and now a suggestion to get into the school of my dreams. Am I dreaming Midoriya ruminated in his mind. It's an opportunity of a lifetime for you young Midoriya, what do you say? We'll still have to train what you know and polish your movements and your body. I see with your bending movements, you're open to attacks when creating streams, using large boulders, a lot of water and air. We'll get you to make quick, precise, and powerful moves for your long and mid-range fighting. We'll still test to see if you acquired super strength as I did, but you seem to have an increase in a lot of things already young Midoriya. So, will you go through with the recommendation? Or take the regular exam? In 10 months. All Might said to Midoriya. Midoriya grinned broadly and shook hands with Nezu, saying, I'll take the recommendation Principal Nezu, All Might. So this concludes today at UA for you Midoriya. You two will be training for the next 9 months for the recommendation exam. You should tell your parent guardian of this Midoriya, the surely would be proud. I can't have the next symbol of peace not have the resources to become the greatest hero now. I look forward to seeing your progress Midoriya, now, let's get back to the school. Nezu replied. After everything was finished, Midoriya took a train home and informed his mother about the day's events, the new shoes, the pushing of his boundaries, and the acceptance of the recommendation that had been extended. She was ecstatic and thrilled for him. For Midoriya, the following 9 months flew by. He had gained some muscle and slightly increased in stature. Thanks to All Might's combat instruction, he developed his ability to launch faster attacks, making him a more proficient close quarters and ranged fighter. He also never developed superhuman strength, but he did get more adept at managing the weight of the ground and the fire's heat and bear it better. Despite this, his durability didn't shield him from everything. His fire assaults were the most impressive and he demonstrated them to his father with All Might's permission to film them. Midoriya had strong punches and kicks and he also learned how to manipulate temperature and color. With some strange experimenting, he was able to alter color while maintaining the greatest possible temperature with fast kicks and punches. Having command over green flames. He not only learned faster punches and kicks, but he also learned how to increase his mobility by using all the elements. He could move with high-pressure flames, move with the earth, even dig himself a hole in it to trap villains, and even increase his mobility with air by balancing on a ball of air to move at high speeds or like a miniature tornado and use the water to surf. He even learned a small lesson from the young heroine recovery girl. Midoriya persevered in his hard work, attending class as usual, despite occasionally appearing a little exhausted and sporting fresh scars or minor burns that healed completely. In their regular battle, make careful to use faster movements, but avoid utilizing too powerful attacks so as to avoid arousing Bakugo's curiosity. Even though it was quite difficult, he was able to maintain his power. Even after it was made public that Midoriya would be given the recommendation exam by the school the letter claimed it was because of his academic prowess and powerful quirk it was clear that no one at the school still spoke to him. Bakugo grew increasingly enraged with Midoriya to the point where their rivalry became toxic and bitter. Before long, the 9 months had passed and on weekends, Midoriya was waiting at the UA gates. Steps came loudly and quickly after the voice exclaimed, Midoriya. Whoa. It is you. Midoriya turned around and saw Inasa, the tall, shaven-headed guy. Midoriya smiled and scratched the back of his head. Inasa. Hey. I didn't know you'd be here. I guess I would've if I stayed at the dojo. I found a new trainer who helped me increase power and shorten movement times and found some new skills as well. How have you been? Learn anything new? Inasa said, I've been fantastic Midoriya. I'm super pumped for this. The written and quirk exams. I haven't learned anything new per se, but I have gotten stronger since the last time we met. I even heard Endeavor's daughter was gonna be here. I'm sure she's very strong, I hope she's got passion. Unlike Endeavor. Inasa murmured the latter sentence. A rude-looking teenage girl with long, reddish-white hair styled in a loose bun passed them by. Midoriya, that's her. Inasa whispered to Midoriya while bending down. I'm gonna go say hi, come along with me. Midoriya whispers back, okay. They approach the girl with the two hairs and say hello. Inasa introduced himself and Midoriya said, you must be Endeavor's kid. I'm Inasa Urashi and this is Izuku Midoriya. Nice to meet you. She shooed the two boys away as they approached the door, saying, I don't care, get out of my way. When he saw her gaze, Inasa halted dead in his tracks. Attempting to reach Inasa, Midoriya asked, Inasa? You alright? It's fine, she probably just had a bad start to her day, come on, don't make too much of it. With a tinge of rage in his voice, Inasa answered, there was no passion in those cold eyes Midoriya, just like Endeavor's cold eyes. They understood they could be in the same oddity test area, even if they had separate testing rooms when they entered UA. Hello everyone, I'm Cementus, your test proctor for the written portion. I'll pass these out and then I'll put up the time you have to complete this test. Good luck everyone. After passing the exam, Midoriya made sure to bring his hero notebook in an attempt to acquire signatures from the professional heroes he encountered. After completing the test, Midoriya received a signature from Cementus and was led to the quirk testing room where he saw Inasa, the girl with the two hairs, a man whose teeth were visible, a girl with a spiky ponytail, and a few other people. Hey guys. I'm Present Mick, proctor for the quirk test. You ready to go plus ultra? The only people who raised their fists and exclaimed plus ultra were Inasa and Midoriya. Present Mick exclaimed, I like these two. It'll be an obstacle course race everyone, get through it as fast and as safely as you all can. When I get to the end and say start, you all gotta move. Present Mick moved to the conclusion of the somewhat lengthy obstacle course. Now that they were getting serious, Inasa and Midoriya were preparing. Midoriya focused his green flames into a swift jet to pass the exam, while Inasa kicked up some wind. Start. After that, everyone headed to the races. 3 students jumped out to the lead as the race began. Todoroki in the lead, Inasa in second, and Midoriya in third. The one with messy green hair was propelled by green flames, the enormous buzzcut man by air, and the red and white-haired girl by continuous heaps of ice. Midoriya thought to himself, this feels like a race, where are the obstacles? As they raced through the obstacle course. Suddenly, 3 distinct kinds of robots appeared and started attacking the recommendees. Oh no, why did I talk so quickly? Midoriya saw this as a chance to showcase his abilities. Leaping forward with his fire, he let out 2 brief but powerful bursts of flames before turning to his earthbending ability to carry himself ahead by moving and controlling the earth as if he were riding a hill. Urashi smiled at Midoriya as she turned to face him again. Pretty fast and strong moves there Izuku. Midoriya said, thanks. Got to put my new skills to good use. Before hurling a boulder that crushed a robot. Everyone in the rear had to figure out how to deal with the robots or avoid the mess that Midoriya was creating with the damaged road and malfunctioning robots. When Midoriya realized what was happening, he looked back and jumped forward, using the earth to propel himself upward and shoot more flames through the air like a jet, screaming, Suari. Midoriya was flying in the air, using the fire to propel him forward at a higher rate than friction would allow him to do on the ground. Urashi and Midoriya were racing each other in a neck-and-neck situation until he made the decision to shift into overdrive and pass Todoroki, leaving Midoriya in her wake. Midoriya tried to speak with Todoroki and threw more energy into his flames. Over the sound of the stream of fire and the formation of ice, he cried, hey, I used to know your dad. He was pretty interested in me for my quirk, since you're his daughter, do you have a similar fire quirk? The answer was silence. Hey, don't mind Inasa, he's just seeing stuff, you seem like a pretty passionate person. Nothing. When I met Endeavor, your father, I felt like he was cool because we could control fire. If we both get in maybe we can be cool. Not like your eyes, but like friends. Once more, silence. When she didn't react, Midoriya made the decision to give up on their conversation. She appeared much more irate. Upon observing this, Midoriya somewhat recoiled and chose to award her second place, understanding that he would perform well in the written and practical sections, defeating robots and placing in the top 3. After everyone had done, Urashi expressed his excitement and gave Todoroki and Midoriya props for finishing first and second, respectively. Izuku. Good job. Bet you didn't expect me to kick it into high gear huh? Todoroki. You were amazing out there, as expected for the child of the number 2 hero. Get the hell out of my way, you two have been annoying me all day, what's your problem? I'm not here to make friends. Todoroki replied with a stern tone. This surprised Urashi, who wanted to speak with her more, but instead a stone wall was erected in front of him. He said, "Midoriya. What are you doing? She obviously doesn't want to talk to us, Anasa. I think it's better to regroup with present Mick than deal with her fury." "Alright, but Izuku, let me tell you something," he says, bending towards Midoriya. Her eyes were full of anger. Just like Endeavor's eyes. Midoriya looked down a little and muttered to himself, "I don't know what we can do about that, Anasa. We're not exactly friends with her, she just told us to get out of her way and called us annoying. She is pretty cute though." "What was that, Izuku?" "Nothing." Midoriya exclaimed, tensing herself. "We should probably go to present Mick, I want to get his autograph." He simply read off a flash card about how they will receive their results within a week, good luck, and that anyone who was hurt should go to the infirmary with a staff member after approaching the pro hero. Following that, it was stated that present Mick intended to depart until Midoriya harassed him and requested an autograph. Present Mick said with excitement, "Oh Mr. Third place and first place. Way to go plus ultra. Crazy quirks you guys got there and some mod skills to go with it." Midoriya heard Urashi whisper, "He has passion." "Mr. Present Mick, sir, I was wondering if I could get your autograph. Mr. Cementus had given me one, so I was wondering if you could as well. I'm a big fan of your radio show." "Well, I'll be. Got myself a fan, of course. Oh, what's your name?" "Izuku Midoriya." "Midoriya, him, you wouldn't be the one who stopped that sludge villain before he could hurt anyone, right?" Midoriya looks down, daring not to look at Urashi. Yeah. I knew you looked familiar, you and some frail blonde guy talked to the principal one time in UA, must have been a recommendation for your heroic actions. I'll make this one special for you, future hero." Present Mick gave Midoriya his notebook back after a minute and then he yelled to Midoriya, "Nice All Might signature. Those are rare." Urashi and Midoriya left the building. "Izuku, did you stop a villain when you weren't at the dojo?" replied Urashi. Yeah. It was after school and he ambushed me, I used my water to freeze him and All Might was on his tail and thankfully I didn't get in trouble since I used my quirk in self-defense. For helping, All Might gave me his signature and I got a ride home from the police." Midoriya partially admitted the truth. Leaving out the portion in which he received one for all. With a raised fist, Urashi screamed, "Izuku. You've got passion. We're both getting into UA, I've stopped thinking about that Todoroki girl, it doesn't matter when someone like you is gonna be there, hopefully you can get some of that passion across to her and we'll all be good friends." "I sure hope so, Anasa." After leaving the UA campus grounds, the old pals exchanged contacts and made sure to notify one another when they were inside. They had no idea that they had already been selected to enter UA. After his mother joyfully delivered them the letter a week later, Midoriya opened it on the coffee table and read aloud the piece of paper stating that Midoriya had gained entry. A few hours later, Urashi eagerly texted Midoriya to let her know he had also been accepted and they both exchanged texts about what they were looking forward to at UA. Apart from the instructor's praise, things weren't that bad in Midoriya's middle school. When Midoriya gave the letter to the class counselor, the counselor toppled over in his chair. He shook Midoriya's hand and remarked, "Ahem, congratulations for getting into UA's hero course through recommendation, Izuku Midoriya." Midoriya answered, "Thank you, I'm proud of my accomplishment." The class grew silent and Bakugo, sitting in his chair, looking shocked and upset with Midoriya, gave Midoriya the impression that he would be struck from behind at any minute. "How in the hell did this geek gain entry via recommendation? I have to take the entrance exam by myself now," was all that Bakugo could imagine. He had 3 weeks until his admission exam, so learning that Midoriya had been accepted just made him more determined to beat everyone else who took the UA entrance exam. The teacher didn't mind what Midoriya did in class because he had already been accepted to the school that all but guaranteed him a hero's life. When the other students in the class still had to figure out what to do if they weren't accepted into their own high school of choice, Midoriya was able to accomplish almost anything. When the time for the admission exam arrived, Bakugo arrived by himself. "Stupid Deku, I have to handle this on my own now." He thought to himself, would have been a lot better to know I'd crush you in the practical. Bakugo sat down and began the written section, which he completed quickly. Present Mick, the proctor, announced the rules when it was time for the practical. Bakugo didn't really like Present Mick since he thought he was too loud, but he was probably going to be irritating after he saw this guy. A tall, blue-haired man had inquired about a different robot. "Dear God, is this a gifted child? I'll defeat him in the real world." After all was said and done, Bakugo proceeded to his training area and destroyed every imitation robot he saw, winning only evil points and taking first place. Being certain that he had entered UA, Bakugo felt fantastic as he returned home. Bakugo wore a smug smile on his face after receiving a letter from All Might revealing him his score and acceptance into UA. Let's see how Deku feels about this. His only thought was to say congratulations, and Bakugo's small group was amazed by him. Midoriya and Bakugo heard a teacher announcement on their final day of middle school. Midoriya, Bakugo, go to the principal's office after school, he wants to talk to you two about something. When it came time to discuss it, the principal only expressed his pride in the two for being admitted. Both of them understood that the key reason was that the school would now be acknowledged for having two students attend UA, one of whom was recommended. Glaring at each other, Midoriya and Bakugo showed that they didn't really care what the principal had to say, it was going in one ear and out the other. After school, Bakugo went to speak with Midoriya in the school's rear. How'd you get in through recommendation? Midoriya answered, by doing well in school and having a good quirk. It might also be that I don't do anything rash or outlandish as you Kaken. Deku, we're both the top students academically, and I'm stronger than you, I don't understand how a weakling like you got in. Bakugo responded with a stern tone. I'm gonna crush you at UA. Bakugo turned to leave. He was convinced that he would triumph over Midoriya at UA, whatever of the circumstances. Conversely, Midoriya had been cruising the whole time. He kept training with all might and gained the ability to employ two elements simultaneously. For the time being, this was a significant advancement that would open up new bending possibilities. Time passed, and Midoriya was able to dedicate more time to his training and self-discovery as he sparred with All Might several times. Similar to All Might, Midoriya was able to absorb a great deal of harm and exert a great deal of stamina. Increasing force production and acclimating to fire to almost fly at this point. Faster motion and even creating a hero outfit that would enable him to employ earthbending for his seismic sense, as he referred to it, without restriction. Focusing on thin-soled shoes for earthbending purposes and a red padded costume for protection. Midoriya enjoyed spending time with All Might at this period and came to regard him as a sort of father figure. Midoriya went to the beach to chill out with Urashi. The legislation allowing the use of oddities by people as provided as they don't harm others had been passed in the nation and police presence had increased. Despite the fact that she was cold, Midoriya felt drawn to her and used his water-bending ability to destroy each and every one of his amazing and intricate sand sculptures, which he created in a matter of seconds. He created everything from buildings to a life-size Urashi and a small Todoroki. He had grown stronger, both in stature and power, so the hiatus had been well worth it. As he was leaving his house, he heard his father calling the Midoriya flat to wish Midoriya luck at UA and to let him know that, although they had once been very close, his father was proud of both him and Bakugo. Midoriya used his airbending to get to the main door of UA and even ran through the hallways in an attempt to locate his class, 1A. Someone shouted something that Midoriya could hear through the door, get your feet off the desk immediately. What in the world is happening inside, he believed. When Midoriya opened the door, she saw Bakugo being reprimanded for having his feet on the desk by a tall man wearing spectacles and blue hair. Oh, what a jerk. Bakugo exclaimed. Are you in the right place, young man? What kind of delinquency stunt are you pulling? I ain't pulling no act. What school did you come from, stiff? I'm from Same Academy if you must know Same. I'm gonna enjoy crushing the elite. Midoriya chimed in, Kaken. Glad you're here. Bakugo calmed down and said, oh hey Deku. To the man with blue hair. Their moms were relieved that things had significantly calmed down between the two over the break because occasionally they would receive calls complaining about the boys taking advantage of each other's eccentricities. Yo. Izuku. Midoriya went to investigate the source of the sound and discovered Urashi sitting in the back of the classroom. In addition, Midoriya observed that Todoroki, who appeared to be bored, was seated next to him. Midoriya gave Urashi a high five and said, Inasa. Hey. Glad to see you're here. Before turning to face Todoroki. Midoriya held out his hand to shake hers, saying, hey Todoroki, glad you're here too, I'm sorry we got off on the wrong foot at the recommendation practical. I hope we can start over. Todoroki inquired whether it was his name, your apology is accepted, Izuku. Oh, was all Midoriya could say, he was taken aback to hear such a gorgeous girl call him by his first name. His name's Izuku Midoriya. I'm Inasa Urashi, I also apologize for getting off on the wrong foot, but I am glad us recommended students are here together. Replied Inasa. Oh, nice to meet you both, Midoriya and Urashi. Seated behind Todoroki, a tall, attractive girl who was shorter than Urashi and Midoriya observed the three of them. Oh. You three must also be here from recommendations. You guys dominated the practical. She said. I'm Momoyaoi Rozu, you guys probably didn't see me being behind, you guys are very mobile and strong. I got held up from some boulders and a lot of broken robots. I'm Izuku Midoriya, Midoriya said, apologizing and introducing himself while stumbling at how stunning Yaoi Rozu appeared. I'm Inasa Urashi, nice to meet you, I'm Kaya Todoroki. Oh my gosh, what a sweet name, Midoriya ruminated in his mind. A massive yellow caterpillar rolled into the room, stood up, and said, everyone, settle down. After unzipping, he revealed a disheveled man wearing a big scarf. I'm Shota Azawa, your homeroom teacher. Get your gym uniforms on and meet me outside, we're going to have a test. The teacher announced that there would be a quirk evaluation to determine everyone's status once everyone had changed and gone outdoors. Bakugo, you were first in the entrance exam, what was your softball throw before? Said Aizawa. Maybe about 67 meters. Try throwing it with your quirk. Bakugo snatched the softball, smiled to himself, and radiated himself to throw it. He grunted, die. As he threw the ball, adding a strong explosion to it. Urashi and Midoriya exchanged silent thoughts. Aizawa was examining a tiny tablet when he heard it ding and showed the class. The majority of the class exclaimed in unison, 705 meters, you all are going to use your quirks for this assessment. You've done this in middle school, but the country doesn't allow the use of quirks, which is unfair. It's also for me to see where you are at in your development. A pink girl said, this sounds like fun. Beside a redhead and a yellow head. Fun? This isn't supposed to be fun. You're all going to go plus ultra. The person in last place will be expelled immediately. A round-faced brunette complained, but Mr. Aizawa. That's not fair. Fair. Our natural disasters or villain attacks are fair. They're not, I'm here to call those who have no worth being heroes. Aizawa replied with a scowl. Now, let's begin. The softball throw, side steps, 50-meter dash, high and long jump, grip test, and basic physical examinations were among the numerous activities that made up the quirk assessment. The tests were quite easy for Midoriya and the other suggested students to pass. In order to get off to a fast start in the 50-meter dash, Midoriya combined his earthbending and firebending skills to finish in 2.9 seconds. Quicker than the blue-haired guy with the engines in his legs. In order to demonstrate his grasp strength, Midoriya grabbed some stones in his hands and covered them with them. He then used his earthbending ability to strengthen his hold, reaching 400 kilograms, second only to a man with 6 arms. Midoriya won first place in the long jump competition by using his earthbending and firebending skills to leap and keep his airborne position. The standing high jump was another area where he and Urashi excelled. Midoriya utilized earthbending to shove him side to side on the side steps, he almost gave the impression that he was vibrating. Those who hadn't seen Midoriya's odd behavior all gave him a somewhat peculiar look. How could one person have a quirk that appeared to be several idiosyncrasies at once? Their other student, Kaya Todoroki, had a single quirk that gave the appearance of having two, which is why Midoriya found her dual-colored hair intriguing. Bakugo gave it his all and became enraged with Midoriya for outperforming him in the score. When it came time for the softball toss, Midoriya created a miniature cannon-shaped earth structure, put the softball inside, bent an earth pillar to launch the ball, and used the air to lessen air resistance, which allowed the ball to soar. Aizawa used the iPad to show the class what seemed to be little more than a kilometer. Everyone in the class gasped, with the exception of the suggested pupils. How much power do those guys possess, seeing as how the only recommended students in the class were Yaoi Rozu, Urashi, Todoroki, and Midoriya? A few students wondered what was going through their minds. Alright, that's everyone, I'm not going to bother reading it all out, so I'm just gonna project it. Aizawa replied. Places rather than scores were displayed on the hologram of the scores. The 4 suggested pupils and Bakugo made up the top 5 students. Looking for his name, Midoriya discovered that the boy on the 20th had purple balls on his head and that his name was Minoru Mineta. Hey Mineta, it's alright man. I'll let you know, Aizawa lied, it's a trick for all of us to do our best. Midoriya said to him. By the way class, I was kidding about the expulsion. It was just a logical ruse to get you all to go plus ultra and do your best. Aizawa replied with a grin. The other students in the class appeared upset. All of them heard Yaoi Rozu say, of course it wasn't real, it was a good way for you all to do your best. The suggested students left to change, but Bakugo spoke with Midoriya first. Deku, you may have gotten higher than me here, but in a battle I'll defeat you. Kakin, I'll do my best in our battles, I can't wait to go all out. During the hiatus, Bakugo and Midoriya had grown to almost the same height and their bodies were well built for their eccentricities. Bakugo concentrated on his arms and shoulders to improve the size of the explosions he could fire, while Midoriya needed overall fitness to handle all the elements. The two virtually had a competitive atmosphere about them that the class could sense. After everyone had changed, Aizawa said that the class was free to mingle since the opening ceremony would continue for the remainder of the day. Aizawa requested each person to identify themselves and their peculiarities. There was the blonde boy with the belly button laser quirk, the pretty pink girl with the horns and black and yellow eyes who had the acid quirk, the girl with the frog quirk, the blue-haired guy with the engine quirk, the pretty brunette who had the ability to negate gravity, the blonde with a tail, another with the electricity quirk, the redhead with the hardening quirk. The guy whose head was a rock and he could communicate with animals, Urashi, whose quirk was whirlwind, the six-armed man with the ability to form different body parts on his four other arms, the girl with purple hair and earphone jacks on her earlobes, the plain-looking guy with the weird elbows who had the tape quirk, the guy with the bird head who had Ascension Shadow Monster as a quirk. Hiya Todoroki, alright, now, there's no seating chart anymore, you can sit wherever and change the desk arrangement, but be sure to fix the room like you found it. I'm gonna take a nap. Aizawa said to students. Well, it was advised that students remain in the room's corner, many people dispersed. Looking around, Midoriya observed Bakugo chatting with a Redeed who was with a pink-skinned girl who stated the quirk assessment was enjoyable, as well as the girl with the strange elbows and the yellow hair with the black streak. Urashi left to speak with each person, gauging their level of passion. Todoroki inquired, remembering what Midoriya had said to him at the referral practical. So, Midoriya, you said you've met my father before. Yaoi Rozu was there and heard the conversation, so Midoriya told her, oh why yeah. I went to a dojo when I was younger to control my quirk and I met Inasa there as well. Endeavor, I saw what Inasa says, his eyes seemed so full of anger. I'm sorry, I know he's your father and all, but he mostly seemed interested in me because of my quirk. I thought I could feel a connection to him for my fire, like I did with the water hose duo and Pixie Bob, but I couldn't see any connection of our fires. I know what you mean. I don't have a strong connection to my father. If anything, I resent him for what he's done. Don't apologize for what you say of Endeavor. Todoroki replied frankly. Your quirk, Midoriya, it is interesting. Midoriya told the two suggested pupils, oh well, thanks, it took a while for it to fully manifest. Over a few years it began to manifest. Oh yeah. At the dojo Izuku's power grew more and more, he came in only knowing how to move the earth, and the last one he learned was fire. We actually bonded over our ability to control the air. Urashi said, accompanied by the brunette with a round face and the glasses-wearing person behind him. Oh, these guys have a lot of passion, Izuku. I thought we could all be friends. With a robotic wave of his arm, he said, it's nice to meet you recommended students. My name is Tenya Ida. She raised her fist in the air and exclaimed, yeah, you guys are super strong. I'm Ichako Uraraka. Nice to meet you guys. Wow, that infinity girl is really pretty, I didn't really look at her, Midoriya thought to himself, referring to the person who reprimanded Kaken and Kaken. I'm Izuku Midoriya, nice to meet you too. You're the one who told off Kaken, right Ida? Still waving his arm robotically, he said, oh, you mean Bakugo, yes, well, he was being very disrespectful to the atmosphere and the property of UA. May I ask why you call him that name? Oh, well, it's a nickname I gave him when we were kids. Inasa questioned, so this is the guy you used to talk about, Izuku. The others were a little perplexed. Yeah, Kaken and I used to fight a lot, we still kinda do. But it's nothing ever bad, just like, we're sort of rivals. And he gave me the nickname Deku, which is supposed to be an insult meaning useless. Midoriya was massaging his head. Uraraka grinned and said, well, I think Deku sounds cute, it's got a you can do it kind of vibe actually. With a flush, Midoriya declares, Deku it is. Iida, Urashi, Todoroki, and Yaoi Rozu answered, what? Iida retorted, I thought you said it was an insult, Midoriya. Awkwardly, Midoriya said, it was, but now I don't know, it's a major paradigm shift. With a broad smile that, to be honest, bordered on scary, Urashi said, oh I see what you're doing, Izuku you sly dog. You're trying to be a flirt aren't you? I knew you were a fighter, but a flirt? That's definitely new. What no, Inasa, it's not like that at all. You gotta believe me. Unaware of what was happening, Uraraka remained standing behind Iida. Todoroki was simply staring at her desk, wondering, how did I manage to catch up to these guys? Yaoi Rozu was simply waiting for the entire situation to pass. Bakugo was growing impatient with the other students. He got to know the Redeed Kirishima, who wasn't as annoying to him until he met Shiro, a black-haired man, and Kaminari, a yellow-haired man. Ashido, the horned girl, soon joined them. He gave them offensive nicknames because he didn't care to find out their names. They all had thick skins, but Bakugo was the one with the short fuse. Shitty hair, raccoon eyes, soy sauce, and dunce face. Mostly listening to them talk, Bakugo never really said anything but lightly taunt them. Alright, Baku bro. Do you know anyone at this place? Kirishima questioned him. Only that useless Deku, and I don't remember any of you except Four Eyes over there with him. Bakugo replied. Deku, the name confused the others. Which one? Or the girls over there, Urashi, Midoriya, or? Kaminari questioned him, I'm surprised you know the recommended students. The person whose hair is green. We went to the same school when we were younger, so I knew him. You both attended the same school, so how come he received a recommendation? Shiro questioned him. Yes, there is a story about the principal here recommending him. I haven't seen him since the last day of school, and now that he's obviously gotten stronger, it just pisses me off even more, Bakugo stated with a hint of contempt in his voice, lowering his gaze and slightly gritting his teeth. How come you didn't receive a recommendation? Mina questioned, you're strong too, Bakugo. I don't know, but if anything, I still would have been number one in the practical. It had been a rather uneventful day, with Midoriya strolling to the train with Iida, Uraraka, and Urashi, Kirishima tailing Bakugo because she wanted to talk to him more. Kirishima's idea of making friends with the meanest kid in class was an attempt to calm Bakugo down to be more cool. Urashi said to Iida and Uraraka, I'm glad you guys have passion for being heroes. The strongest are passionate about making people feel safe. But Urashi, of course. Saving lives and stopping evildoers is the responsibility of a hero, Iida answered, continuing, for some reason, to move his arm. Well, my goal is to save the day. Naturally, I have a strong desire for my dream, Uraraka answered. Izuku here knows I have some troubles with people who don't have passion, but anger in their eyes. Urashi continued. I met him at a dojo when we were kids, as you guys heard, so he knows quite a bit about me and vice versa. Yeah, Inasa and I were pretty close, he helped get rid of some shyness I had when I was younger. Midoriya said. You guys seem like a lot of fun, unknowingly causing Midoriya to blush, Uraraka shouted. Bakugo was talking about possible outcomes for the following day, but he was not responding to Kirishima. With a sidelong glance at Midoriya, Bakugo said, I hope I get to kick someone's ass tomorrow. By the end of the day, everyone had learned a little bit about one another. The following day, they were shown their actual classrooms, with teachers such as Present Mick teaching English, Midnight teaching art history, Cementus teaching literature, and Ectoplasm teaching math. They didn't find out who was teaching their foundational hero studies class until the very end of the day. Like a regular person, I am here, entering the class, a voice yelled. Everything is powerful, many people cried out as he walked confidently into the classroom well dressed in his Silver Age attire. Hello, class. I'm your foundational hero studies teacher, and today we have a big task ahead of us. We're going to have a trial of battle. He withdrew a big card that read battle. I am going to impart some heroic lessons to each and every one of you. And we have your hero costumes to add to the authentic sense. As the suitcases emerge from the wall, he gestures in that direction. With All Might as their teacher, hero costumes and lessons on how to be a hero. At the conclusion of the day, everyone was in awe. All of them had changed into their costumes and entered ground beta. Midoriya's costume is different from everyone else's, it resembles the pro-bending uniforms from Legend of Korra and includes a water pouch. Deku, wow. Your outfit seems like a lot of fun. The red and tan look good. I wish mine wasn't so skin tight, I'd prefer something like yours, a little loose. Uraraka grinned broadly at him. Midoriya looks at her outfit, assessing how well it fits her. Midoriya blushes scarlet and says, I don't know Uraraka, you have a good costume as well, I like the color palette. Izuku. Fantastic outfit. I like it in a massive outfit. Urashi gives him the thumbs up. Inasa, your costume is enormous. Is it so the wind won't chill you off? Midoriya queries. Exactly on time. Although it's quite basic, given your peculiarity, I'm sure it's fireproof, warms you, and is incredibly durable. When Yashi and Midoriya noticed Yaoi Rozu and Todoroki, they started chatting about their outfits. Where is your costume, Todoroki? Simply put, it appears that you are dressed casually, Uraraka inquired. Well, anything. I desired something informal. She says, I can put something on it, while forming ice on her left side. Inasa said, whoa, now you look almost villainous. You know what, your glove seems incredibly large for no apparent reason. Todoroki answered. I also like the little hat and goggles you have on there. Creates the impression. At this, Urashi flushes a little. I'm grateful. He slammed his head against the floor in response. Oh my god. How are you doing? Yaoi Rozu and Uraraka cry out. Todoroki looks perplexed and Midoriya feels ashamed. Midoriya pardoned Urashi, saying, don't worry, he's got a hard head, he does this a lot, he's really passionate to go past 90 degrees when bowing. Oh. Yaoi Rozu. Given that you informed me that creating requires a significant amount of skin surface area, it appears that your outfit is designed to enable you to build larger objects. Well, I appreciate you observing Midoriya and noting that intention. Yaoi Rozu gestured to the man with balls on his head and stated, unfortunately, it attracts a lot of unwanted attention. Midoriya felt compelled to defend and intimidate the bystander. Mineta. I'm going to burn off your eyebrows if you stare at her. To the surprise of a few other kids, Midoriya yelled at the conclusion with a huff of fire to intimidate. Midoriya. Threatening a classmate is not okay, Iida remarked while wearing a night outfit that gave him a robotic appearance. To the agreement of Yaoi Rozu, Todoroki, and Uraraka, Midoriya answered, I know Iida, but Mineta is also being inappropriate. Oh mon quel villain costume, a voice exclaimed. Midoriya turned to face the source of the voice and saw Aoyama, a dapper young guy. Costume of a villain inquiringly, Midoriya said, "No, it's my hero costume, Aoyama." Aoyorozu told him, "He means it's kinda ugly Midoriya," he said it in French. "What? Aoyama prioritizes function over style. I bet I could use your sparkly appearance to wash the floor." Interrupting Midoriya, All Might exclaimed, "The clothes make the pros. You all look ready for battle. I'll draw some lots and explain the task for you all." Following the drawing of teams, Urashi was paired with Todoroki and Midoriya with Yaoyorozu. To the chagrin of the rest of the class, the suggested pupils were grouped together in teams. Overhearing whispers about how teams opposing them would lose. Asui and Bakugo were partnered, Uraraka and Tokoyami, Ajiro and Hagakure, Aoyama and Ishido, Jiro and Kaminari, Kirishima and Shiro, Mineta and Iida, and Shoji and Kota. This class would be comprised of an indoor battle, 2-on-2, villains and heroes. Villains have a bomb to protect, and heroes must capture the villains or reach the bomb. I'll draw teams and hand out building schematics, as the buildings are different heroes against villains Asui and Bakugo vs Midoriya and Yaoyorozu Kirishima and Shiro vs Urashi and Todoroki Jiro and Kaminari vs Mineta and Iida Ajiro and Hagakure vs Shoji and Kota Aoyama and Ishido vs Uraraka and Tokoyami. As he looked directly at his opponent, Midoriya said, "Oh great. We go against Kaken." Yaoyorozu inquired, "Is that a bad thing?" "No, just that his quirk is very versatile, and due to our history he'll go after me. I have a plan, would you like to hear it?" "Yes, anything to give us an edge and I'll put in some suggestions." The villainous pair discussed their idea while being shown a brick-built building. "Alright villains, heroes, you've got 15 minutes to complete your objective. Villains must defend for the whole time or incapacitate the heroes, heroes must capture the weapon or both villains. Start." All Might said. "Great, Yaoyorozu, make the barriers and make yourself a weapon. I'll go on the offensive." Midoriya said. "I'll take care of them." Before the game, Bakugo spoke briefly with Asui but never truly established a plan. "We should try and prioritize capturing the villains, you seem to have some issues with Midoriya." Asui said. "I think I should go for him and you should go for Yaoyorozu." Gritting his teeth, Bakugo stated, "No, Deku's mine, you go after the bomb. I've got to settle something with him, so don't get in our way." "We should go inside now," All Might started the timer. Unaware of the surprises Midoriya had in store for them, they both sprinted inside. The walls and floor rumbled, and Asui leaped onto the wall and clung on, while Bakugo dug himself up to his waist in the earth. Asui cried out, "What's happening?" "I don't fucking know, some bitch trick Deku's using." "Deku, show yourself." From somewhere inside the building, Midoriya said, "I don't know Kaken, it's quite fun seeing you in the ground. Hahaha." While Asui proceeded up some stairs in an attempt to locate the device, Bakugo used small explosives to break free from the earth. Asui climbed up a stairway to the next story, which was constructed entirely of bricks and cement, saying, "Bakugo, I'm going to try and find the bomb. I don't give a shit, I gotta get out of this fucking ground, fucking Deku. Show yourself." Midoriya inquired, "Asui, where do you think you're going?" Asui backed up when a water whip suddenly materialized and snapped at her. Asui said, "There you are, Midoriya." Midoriya blasted a burst of water at her, saying, "Of course, you're the one I'm going after first." But she jumped aside, getting splashed with water. "You have the same abilities as a frog, don't you?" Asui tries to latch onto Midoriya with her tongue, saying, "Yeah, and it should be enough to capture you." "I don't think so, Asui." Midoriya launches a massive fire blast that erupts as a wall of fire and a series of jabs, one of which reaches her foot as she leaps away. Asui cries, "Bakugo. Are you free yet?" As she feels the agony of Midoriya's green flames. Bakugo yells, "I told you to go to the bomb." As he approaches Midoriya from behind. Startling the spectators during the battle were the Midoriya ducks. "He can control water too. How'd he know he was there? Did he hear Bakugo?" People were asking. Urashi replied, "No, that's part of his quirk, the earth aspect." "What do you mean?" inquired Todoroki. Izuku has this thing he calls seismic sense, he can see everything around him through the vibrations of the floor he's on, so he felt Bakugo escape and come behind him the entire time he was fighting Asui. He got lucky with a building made entirely of bricks and cement, which he can control. He's gotten a lot stronger since I last saw him. He was never able to bury people. He tells the students. Kaminari wonders, isn't it a little overpowered, the seismic sense Midoriya has? Not at all, it kind of distracts him, it's like watching two screens at once. Unless he's been able to master that. Asui is also very jumpy, he got her with a blast of his fire, but I think I know what he'll ultimately do. "Which is?" inquired Shiro. "I'll leave it as a surprise. Quit dodging." Bakugo yelled as Midoriya used his airbending ability to build walls of earth and move aside. As he quickly kicks aside Bakugo's extended palm and blasts air at him, sending him into a wall, Midoriya taunts, such harsh language for a wannabe hero. Before briefly turning to face Asui. Continue to use water, gradually covering Asui in more water. Asui leaps towards Midoriya and exclaims, I try my hardest in the water, Midoriya. Midoriya yells, oh, I'm trying to get you covered with water. As he launches a powerful spray of water at her. Asui gets pushed by Midoriya, who uses the water to pin her to a wall before abruptly freezing it. Midoriya asks, adding more water to cover her mouth and freeze it. Frogs go into a hibernation state when they get too cold, I'm assuming the same happens to you as well, ha Asui. Bakugo shouts, Deku you bastard. And charges at Midoriya while releasing an explosion. Midoriya quickly avoids an explosion and exclaims, I swear Kaken. Hahaha. You kiss you mother with that mouth. Midoriya stands in front of a wall and taunts, you're very slow, Kaken, come on, hit me. So these buildings should be the same as any other with running water in it. So you can try and get Bakugo to attack and erupt some water pipes, giving you more water to control to freeze him, as you can freeze Asui with your water pouch Yaoi Rozu clarified. Yeah, I like that idea, if the pipes have water in them it could really help out. Bakugo shouts, die Deku. And causes another enormous explosion. Kaken. You're too slow. Hahaha. You'll never be a real hero if all you want to do is yell die shoot off a firecracker. Midoriya mocks him. You only want to be a hero for fame and money. That's not what a hero is. Shut up. Bakugo erupts once more, unaware of Midoriya's scheme. Having previously breached the bricks, he now needs to shatter the metal pipes, so he arranges himself among the brick mounds. Bricks are bent into the shape of a brick armor as Midoriya yells, come at me and prove yourself Kaken. Come at me. Whoa, Midoriya is taking the villain role to a taunting session of Bakugo. Hiroshima says well of course. He's taking on the role of the villain, making the situation as real as he can try. Iida tries to clarify. Yurashi tells the class, Bakugo and Izuku also have a rivalry that spans over a decade. Izuku told me Bakugo's intentions for being a hero were fame and money, and Izuku has always disregarded and put down those aspects of being a hero. He wants to save people, that's what he sees as being a hero, risking your own life to save others. Midoriya is trying to take on the persona of a villain that wants only true heroes whatever that means. Uraraka adds aloud, so Midoriya is taunting his rival because they don't see eye to eye. Come on Kaken. I take your hits. I won't dodge this time. Pulling the button on his grenade gauntlet, Bakugo says, you can take my hits okay, try this on for size. All Might says, Bakugo, don't pull the pin. Pulling the pin, Bakugo exclaims, don't worry, he's made himself armor and he says he won't dodge, he wants this. Contrary to what he claimed, Midoriya does not evade. At full force, it rips off the brick armor and singes the hero costume's exposed areas. When Midoriya is hurled back against the metal pipes, they shatter and splatter water all over him. Bakugo turns to see Midoriya face down in the water. Bakugo orders, get up. Get up. Bakugo approaches Midoriya on foot. Feeling the building tremble, Yaoi Rozu realized she only had a few minutes left, so she over-prepared the chamber with the explosive. Everyone in the class is staring with wide eyes, with the exception of Todoroki and Yurashi, who remain silent. Grabbing onto a limp Midoriya, Bakugo shouts, get up Deku. You useless piece of shit, get up. And gives him a quick shake. He holds onto him for a little while, the class doesn't say anything, and Yaoi Rozu doesn't know anything other that Bakugo has caused a bigger explosion than the others. Peekaboo, Kaken. Exclaims Midoriya as he opens his eyes and propels Bakugo down the corridor with the water all over them. The last line makes Midoriya grunt. He moves his arms to create a stream of water around him and jabs at Bakugo, releasing shards of ice towards him and yanking bricks off the wall and the floor at Bakugo. Wow, you really sounded distraught Kaken. I always wanted to try that out and see if I'd fool you, I don't think you were fully convinced but still, worth a shot. Bakugo tries to get up and blocks shots with his gauntlets, but Midoriya freezes him in place by placing his 2 feet and arm on the ground. This leaves only one arm free to return fire until Midoriya freezes his gauntlet in water, eliminating any chance of sweat being used against Bakugo. I know you can heat your palms, but I can always refreeze you. Are you getting cold, Kaken? Can you use your quirk? It's your hand sweat and I've covered them both in ice. Midoriya covers Bakugo in a block of ice, leaving his head free. Deku, why? Why did you accept the blast's harsh end? Why do you behave in this manner? How come you make fun of me? Bakugo shoots him with inquiries. That name right there, Deku. So antagonizing Katsuki Bakugo. Midoriya doesn't address him as Kaken, instead staring him in the eyes. Bakugo finds it quite strange to hear Midoriya use his real name. You don't deserve to be a hero as you can't save anyone with that destructive quirk Katsuki. Midoriya makes fun. You should just leave. Villain team wins, time is up All Might proclaims. Well, alright, let me help you leave. Kakanyaoirozu emerges to find Bakugo drenched in water and Midoriya holding Asui to keep her warm. Bakugo sits there, bewildered. Midoriya melts the ice that holds Bakugo and dashes off to melt out Asui. He was getting so angry that the water was scorching on him. It was a fucking act, that useless piece of shit Deku just fucking acted. He thought to himself. After the four returned to class, All Might inquired who had been the situation's MVP. While most would have selected Midoriya, they said Yaoi Rozu because she had been focused on the goal and had not pushed personal matters like those of Bakugo and Midoriya or been taken out of the match too soon. The second match pitted Kirishima and Shiro against Urashi and Todoroki, to the dismay of some students who felt that the recommended students had prevailed. As Shiro and Kirishima were ready to guard the fake bomb, Urashi and Todoroki had a brief conversation outdoors because they were the heroes. "Do you have a strategy for this?" Todoroki Urashi questioned her. As soon as All Might declares the start, Todoroki enters the building and says, "I do, stay outside for a moment, then after I'm done we can retrieve the bomb." The structure is completely covered in ice when Todoroki puts her palm on the wall and inhales deeply. Urashi whispers softly, "Whoa. You can come in now, let's get the bomb." Kirishima, perplexed as to why everything is frozen, clenches his arms to break free and pursue Urashi and Todoroki, then turns to face Shiro. Kirishima hurries out of the room, saying, "I gotta stop them before they get here, use your elbows to get out of there or something. The bomb isn't on this floor, it's probably on the top floor." Urashi responds, "Let's go up." They stroll along, not actually speaking, but they can hear ice crunching, which is growing louder by the second. I anticipated Kirishima would become popular soon. "I'll freeze him over, I got him." As the wind builds up around them, Urashi says, "No, I've got it. I gotta at least do something." "You heroes, I've got you now," Kirishima says, hardening his arms and raising them into an X. Todoroki utters a bland, "Oh no," the villain. Pulling back his arm, Urashi says, "Surrender Kirishima." "Never." Urashi punches the air forward and strikes Kirishima, saying, "Very well." Kirishima is being pushed back, trying his hardest to fight, but he slips over his footing and collapses, being hurled right into the wall. He feels so much wind resistance, like a storm and tornado mixed together in such a little place. "You consider that an assault stuck in a wall," Kirishima murmurs feebly. Todoroki steps with her left foot and covers Kirishima's head with her ice, saying, "I can take care of him now." "Now both of you guys are probably incapacitated since you probably didn't free Shiro," adds Urashi. "Come on, 4 minutes have gone, the bomb ought to be around here." Kaminari yells, covering his face with his hands, "Oh man, I knew the recommended students would win." Hiro pokes him with her headphone jack and responds, "Shut up, at least we don't have to go against them." She's amazing. "I had no idea Todoroki could do something like that," Midoriya exclaims. The pink-skinned Ashido cries, "Sounds like you've got a little crush Midoriya." "Wah. No. It's not like that, her quirk is just really powerful. That's all. I swear." When he covers his face with his arms and the top of his head bursts into flames, Ashido looks up at him and says, "You're turning red. I gotta say, if you didn't have such a crush on her I might be into you." "It's not like that Ashido." Hero team wins. All Might exclaims, putting an end to Midoriya's humiliation as Iida pats his head to put out the fire. She goes on to say that Midoriya might be a fire hazard, but he ignores her and keeps his eyes on the victorious pair. As Todoroki breaks through Kirishima's ice shell, Inasa laughs at him and apologizes for throwing him so hard. Todoroki was the match's MVP because of his composure and ability to rapidly render the villains unconscious. The subsequent games proceeded without incident, nobody appeared upset with the outcome, save for Bakugo, who seemed to be putting himself before everyone else and what Midoriya had done. Shiro was happy to see everyone in their matches, even though he was likewise looking down. In the end, Asui was unharmed and Midoriya had apologized for freezing her to a wall. The only injuries sustained were minor burns and bruises that would eventually heal. After a successful day's work, Urashi joined Midoriya for some outside exercise. Urashi inquired, "So, Izuku, Ashido told you got a crush on Todoroki?" As he was learning how to manage air with Midoriya and little air bursts. Midoriya blushes slightly and says, "It's nothing like that Inasa. She's cute and strong, sure, that's objective, but that doesn't mean I have a crush on her." "Quicker Inasa, have the air build up pressure in front of your hands." Urashi blasted blast after blast, but only managed to topple a few cans. "It seems like you're not used to feeling attraction. I know you told me in middle school nobody really talked to you because of your ideas of who a hero should be and that Bakugo was a ringleader of everyone. Like the Suzuku." Midoriya let out 2 fast airstrikes on a tree, saying, "Put more pressure, it'll take some time, but you'll get it, our air quirks are similar, not exactly the same, but I'm pretty sure you can do it if we try long and hard enough. And yeah, I'm not used to talking to girls, except older women like our teachers or parents." I guess it's because I'm so used to being alone or talking to you, it feels nice to talk to more people. The recommended students and Uraraka and Ida are cool. You know, Ashido told me something I didn't mention before in case you would have blushed more. Midoriya inquired, launching some earth discs he had turned into a tree. What did she say? Irashi pauses to gaze at Midoriya, who was blushing and had some flames on his body. She said something like if you hadn't had such a crush on Todoroki she would have been crushing on you. I think she said that to tease you, Irashi says. Oh, never seen this before Izuku, you're blushing hard, aren't you? I can tell because you flames never did that before. Midoriya uses the flames to throw a couple blasts into the air, saying, shut up Inasa. It just caught me off guard when she said it. But Ashido is very pretty, I don't deny that. But you should concentrate on increasing the wind pressure Inasa. Go slow and work your way up with speed, taking time to build up air pressure. Inasa was moving slowly but continued to speak, so who else do you think is cute Izuku? I saw class 1B once and I thought the girl with vines on her head was cute. I was going to talk to her but she already went to her class. Midoriya pulled out a large amount of water and attempted a tentacle arm technique, enclosing his arms in water to extend his range. I haven't seen the vine girl you're talking about. And I think all the girls here are kinda cute. Yeah but who do you think is really pretty? I've only heard about Ashido and Todoroki. What about the invisible girl? I'm sure she's cute but I can't see her. The frog girl, Asui. No, she's kinda cute but I don't see myself liking her in that way. Oh. The girl who said your nickname was cute, Uraraka. It's pretty evident you like her due to your small stutter with her. Inasa. Izuku. Hey Midoriya. Kirishima, Kaminari and Shiro approached the pair as Urashi and Midoriya turned to face them. We came here to work out and I was wondering if you wanted to spar using our quirks. Midoriya questioned him, spar with whom? Just you or against the three of you? Nah just me, these two just work out or watch us. Midoriya stands wide and steps up, forcing a broad rectangle of earth to rise. Alright, I'm up for it. Midoriya gives him a smile and says, mind getting on the other side. Proper pitch for a proper spar. The new three are in awe of Midoriya's ability to contain his eccentricity. As Kirishima leaves his belongings behind and crosses across, Shiro and Kaminari start to remark on the fight. Midoriya gives the instruction, Inasa, keep working on the air blasts. Gentlemen, we have a one-on-one of the elemental man himself Midoriya versus Red Riot Kirishima. Kaminari said. Urashi chuckles as Shiro continues, this is the first time we've seen these two titans face off. The crowd is electric. Kirishima asks, tensing his arms, no hard feelings if you lose right Midoriya. Midoriya applies his water to the tentacle arms and exclaims, of course not. We see Midoriya ready his water and Kirishima prepared to take on the defense, let's see how this match goes. Shiro says. Kaminari yells, start. As tiny sparks fly from his hands. Kirishima rushes Midoriya who actually jumps over Kirishima, causing him to run into a pillar of rock. Midoriya takes advantage of this by hitting him with a quick whip of the water. Shiro is actively discussing the battle. Kaminari, who do you think will prevail in this matchup? Oh, Shiro, as much as I like Kirishima I think Midoriya is gonna take this. He's a student let in on recommendation, we've seen what he can do against the one who went number 1 on the entrance exam. I also heard that Midoriya has taken notes on everyone's quirks, so he might know a weakness to Kirishima's defense. Would you see that? Kirishima is getting Midoriya on the ropes after freezing Kirishima's legs, but he's still taking his fire like it's nothing. Now we see Midoriya taking the earth and making an armor on his arm to defend against Kirishima. Oh, I bet Kirishima didn't see that water from behind sticking him to the ground twice today. Midoriya has gotten some distance and plunges his hands into the ground like it's water. Pulling up stone gloves. Oh, I see. Midoriya is shooting off pieces of it like bullets, all hitting Kirishima. Now he may be on the ropes having to defense and get rid of the ice. Midoriya is all out of stone gloves. What's he gonna do now? Oh, he's taking back the water, using the same trick he did with Bakugo, circle of water and jabbing out ice. Kirishima's free and defending against it, but this fight is wearing out his hardness, seems like he'll need a Viagra or something to keep going. While he laughs, Inasa is continuing practicing his actions. Kirishima plays dirty. Unmanly. He got dirt in Midoriya's eyes. He doesn't bother rubbing his eyes, he catched Kirishima's arm in a wall of earth and does the same to his other leg. That's his seismic sense Inasa told us about earlier. Is Midoriya way too overpowered now, getting rid of his eyes, but he can still see everything? Midoriya is relying on the ground to see, and it definitely works out for him, as Kirishima is now neck deep in the ground. Easily showing us that Midoriya could have won as soon as the match started. At last, Kaminari declares, Midoriya wins the spar. Ashido startled everyone by showing up. Midoriya. Get Kirishima out of the ground now. Shiro, Kaminari. Is this where you went? To fool around? While Midoriya was pulling Kirishima out of the earth and lowering the stage back while attempting to clear dirt from his eyes, Urashi remarked, "Oh, Ashido, hey, didn't know you would be joining us." Kirishima said, "Oh Mina. You should see the footage." With excitement. I asked Shiro to record it and he and Kaminari did some commentary. "We're sorry, we didn't know it would take so long. Do you still want to go get some food with us? I can ask Midoriya to come along as well." Kirishima murmurs the conclusion. She murmurs, "Sure. I better see that it was a good fight." "Hey Urashi, I won't be joining you, we're gonna go eat, you wanna join us?" "I have to go home, I can't." He answered. "Izuku, I'm gonna go home, I thought I'd get it by now, but we'll have to see for tomorrow." Midoriya grabbed his belongings and replied, "That's alright Inasa, I know it's kinda tricky." Kirishima said, "Oi, Midoriya, wanna come eat with us real quick?" As Kaminari and Shiro smiled behind him. Midoriya inquired, "Sure, is Ashido still here?" Pointing at her, Kaminari said, "Yeah, she's totally blushing man." Midoriya adds a little uncomfortably, "Oh, I was asking because you showed up and then I didn't see you." "Come on, what place are we going to?" "I'll see you tomorrow Inasa. And I'll probably text you later." "Alright Izuku." After Shiro and Kaminari received texts from their parents and had to leave early, leaving Ashido, Kirishima and Midoriya as the only 3 students remaining, the 5 proceeded to the front of the school. Kirishima tells the 2 eagerly, "There's this place that's gone some good Yuden." "Come on, there's still a good amount of people." Midoriya says, "Inasa loves Yuden." After arriving at the location, the 3 of them eat meals while conversing about their classes and the matches. They also discuss some of Bakugo's remarks with Midoriya. Ashido wonders, what's up with the name Deku Midoriya? Midoriya looks down and then at them, saying, "Oh, you probably heard it from Kaken. It's a dumb name he made. He uses it to demean me, even though today I showed him how strong I am. Bakugo's strong as well, he told us you guys went to the same school, but you got in through recommendation." "Yeah, it's because I wasn't looking for fights like he does, and he's just a bully," said Midoriya. "I know Bakugo is strong, and I used to always hold back on him, even today, I could have ended the match as soon as it started, but since I was playing a villain, I toyed with him." "Yeah, what was going on in your match? It seemed like you were just teasing him." Kirishima responded. "Well, I was putting on an act, and I guess some of my actual emotions came out. But I'm not going to be like that, it's just for the sake of the drill," replied Midoriya. "Anyways, you seem a little uncomfortable about that, what about when your head burst into flames Midoriya?" "I heard about it from Kaminari. It apparently happened during mine and Shiro's match," replied Kirishima. Midoriya looks at Ashido and responds, "Oh, well, after Todoroki froze the entire building and melted the ice, I said out loud that she has a strong quirk and I didn't know she was able to freeze an entire building." And then Ashido responded, "Mina. You can call me Mina, Midoriya." Oh, alright." And then Mina came up to me and asked if I had a crush on Todoroki, which I don't, she's just really cool. And then I told him if you didn't have such a crush on her I might be into you." Mina shrieked. "Oh, so you caught fire because Mina made you nervous. Makes sense, you didn't take me for a guy to be used to flirty girls." "Mina is a big flirt." Kaminari responds. "I'm not a big flirt, I couldn't do that with Bakugo, I could get my horns blown off." Mina chuckles after laughing at the jokes the girl was telling them. The 2 boys finished their meal, pay, and go. Midoriya arrives home, studies, eats late, washes his dishes, and gets ready for the next day after calling Urashi to tell him he should have gone because they had some Yuden. The kids would encounter 2 extremes on the following day. Who would be the class 1 representative and vice representative, as well as the press. The press was there to greet them when everyone arrived at the school, asking all sorts of questions about All Might and his teaching style. Numerous reactions were sent to the press. "Well, he's got big muscles. He's really cool. Fuck off. He's alright I guess." Once they were in their classes and out of the press, everyone was relieved. When Izawa asked who would be the class representative, everyone expressed interest in the role. Ida then announced that the matter would be settled by a vote, with the class representative being chosen by those who received the most votes, and the vice representative by those who received the second highest number of votes. After everyone had given their consent, they were given slips of paper on which to write their preferences. The majority of voters supported themselves, although Midoriya received the most votes, 4, followed by Yaoi Rozu and Todoroki, 3. It was surprising to learn that the person who proposed voting had not received any votes. Following a vote to break the tie between Todoroki and Yaoi Rozu was chosen as the vice representative. After some thank yous, the remainder of the class period was devoted to reviewing the previous day's events. Personal quarrels should not be brought up in class by Bakugo or Midoriya. Yaoi Rozu ought to have been allowed to provide more than just defense and criticism for the other pupils, according to Midoriya. Aizawa questioned aloud, Midoriya, Kirishima. I saw footage of you two fighting after school. What was that about? Many people were perplexed as to why they would fight. Oh, it was just a friendly spar. I was trying to teach Inasa some moves and Kirishima wanted to spar. So we had a little spar. We didn't know it would be a problem if it is. Responded Midoriya. Aizawa felt that further clarification was needed, so she asked, Kirishima, is this true? Yes, Aizawa-sensei. I asked him for a quick spar after seeing the match of him against Asui and Bakugo and wanted to see how well I would have fared. Alright, you two aren't in trouble. We have facilities for this, you should have just asked some staff after class for permission. Aizawa let them know. This goes for everyone as well who want to spar with each other. We'll use it in class at a later date once we get some scenarios down, like for tomorrow. We're going to the unforeseen simulation joint to work on disaster rescue situations. Today was to select the reps to help watch over the class. Class is in 10 minutes, I'm gonna take a nap and then President Mick will come in to teach English. After unzipping his sleeping bag, Aizawa collapsed on the ground. Even though it was only the third day there, it was nonetheless strange to see. Mina noticed that everyone was chatting among themselves and that she had cast a few sidelong looks in Midoriya's direction. While Bakugo was berating Shiro and Kaminari for their poor sketch of him frozen in ice, Kirishima whispered to her, Mina, it's obvious that you kinda like him, just go talk to him. Well, I might ask him to eat with me for lunch or I could just join his group for lunch today. She responded. Kirishima grinned toothily and said, yeah, might be good since Bakugo is already getting mad at Shiro and Kaminari wouldn't want that to get on you. Alright. Iida felt a little unhappy with the group that Midoriya was a part of. Come on Iida, don't be so down, if you want I'll pass on my position to you. Responded Midoriya. No, thank you Midoriya, but no. You've been deemed class rep based on the vote of the class, you even had my vote. It wouldn't be fair to Yaoi Rozu or Todoroki either. Responded Iida. Honestly, I wouldn't have cared, I'm just surprised people voted for me. Todoroki said. I voted for Yaoi Rozu. Patting Midoriya's back, Uraraka exclaimed, I voted for you, Deku. With all honesty, Urashi and Yaoi Rozu declared, I did not vote for you. They each clarified that they had cast their own ballots. Okay, well I voted for Yaoi Rozu and you two voted for me, then who are the other two who voted for me? Replied Midoriya. Urashi speculated Izuku, Kirishima and Ishido might be involved. Midoriya answered, well, I don't know. I can ask Mina and Kirishima later. Todoroki gazed at Ishido and Midoriya before asking, Mina. Are you two a thing now? What? No. I don't think I'm ready for a relationship at this present. Mick opens the door and screams, hey everybody, who's ready for English? This helps ease Midoriya's discomfort. As usual, English was taught with present Mick, followed by art with Midnight and literature with Cementus. Everyone then left for lunch. Urashi went to speak with the girl who had vine hair after Midoriya saw her and told him where she was. Only to return with a somber expression on his face and a rosary. Midoriya asked, what's wrong, Inasa? Struck out. Well, I asked her what she was doing on Sunday because I have family plans for the rest of the week except Sunday and I asked her if she wanted to go out that day. She told me she had to help out her church and then she gave me this necklace. Urashi was angry. It's a rosary, it's a religious piece people use for prayer. I don't know much about it since over time the world became more secular when Quirk showed up ages ago. Yaoi Rozu said him. Urashi told them, well, it looks cool, I'll just wear it since she gave it to me. Ibara Shiozaki is her name, though. As he slipped on the rosary and tucked it inside his shirt. I might ask her out again next week when it's more suitable. Uraraka said, well, glad to know you're not giving up. So Deku, do you have your eye on anyone like Urashi here? Midoriya answered, no, not really, I don't think so. He doesn't know how to act with flirts or how to flirt. He gets embarrassed like yesterday when he caught on fire. Urashi clarified. Iida questioned, casting a bewildered glance at Todoroki. Oh, I see, Midoriya, was that the reason why your hair burst into flames when Todoroki's match was finished? Midoriya clarified, well, it's because Mina said something that got me embarrassed. Midoriya jumps when Ishido says, what was it that I said? Iida, Todoroki, Yaoi Rozu and Uraraka give Midoriya a nervous look as she says, oh, Mina, you heard that, you said something along the lines of me having a crush on Todoroki, which isn't true, and that if I didn't, you would have a crush on me. But I don't have a crush on Todoroki, but I don't think you were being honest when you said you'd have a crush on me, because Kirishima said that you're a flirt, so yeah. Well, that was a long way of saying it, but yeah, do you guys mind if I sit with you all? Asks Ishido. Urashi responds, no, we don't mind. He shifted his tray aside and let Ishido sit beside Midoriya, saying, "Take my seat next to Izuku, I'll just sit in front of him." Mina teased, leaving Midoriya a stuttering, blushing mess. "So, since you call me Mina now, I think it's only appropriate I get to call you by your first name, Izuku." "I'm only kidding. But I would like to give you a nickname." "Well, I call Midoriya Deku, maybe you can use that as well." Uraraka continues. "What was it that Shiro or Kaminari called you during the spar, Izuku?" asks Urashi. "Was it Elemental Man?" Iida said, Majin his arm. "Wait, this was recorded." "Midoriya, did you give your consent to be recorded?" "They called me Inasa, and although I didn't give my verbal consent, I don't mind. I just hope it wasn't uploaded." "Hey Midoriya. I posted the spar between Kirishima and you. Look up Red Riot vs Elemental Man at Zero in the cafeteria, calling out." "Oh my goodness," Midoriya says, slouching in his chair and putting his hands over his face. "It was inevitable, wasn't it?" "Elemental Man, everything will be alright," Mina teasingly says. "Zero sent me the fight and you performed fantastic." "It was a spar, not a fight. Izuku could have done a lot more damage if it had been a fight," Urashi continues. "Urashi, what do you mean?" Todoroki inquired. "Well, I've seen that Kirishima should count himself lucky that Izuku didn't shatter anything on him when Midoriya becomes angry. Midoriya would inadvertently burn, choke, break bones, and cut people when he attempted to manage his peculiarity. All of this was an accident. But if he so chooses, Izuku is able to harm people in such ways." Urashi tells the table, "I'm glad he's not a villain because if he was, he could probably take on All Might easily. I'm proud of you, Midoriya." Iida replied, "For being able to have such control over your quirk to not harm anyone other than putting Bakugo in ice yesterday and putting Asui into a hibernation type state and the spar with Kirishima. We're all happy that you have such control of your peculiarity, Midoriya. Possessing such strength," Yaoi Rozu continues. "I suppose I can relate to the situation." Todoroki continues, "My quirk can easily freeze people to death or turn them to ash. I just hope I don't hurt anyone too bad. Being a hero, you gotta defeat the villains and save those who need saving." Midoriya informs everybody. "Hey," Midoriya Shido began to speak. The group follows the others, getting caught up in the stampede and separated, and then Midoriya looks out the window to see if the cause of this uproar is anywhere around. To his confusion, he sees that it is the press. Suddenly, alarms go off, blaring throughout the cafeteria as the students rush towards the exit doors. Yaoi Rozu. "It's only the media." Mina, Todoroki, Inasa, Uraraka and Iida. Midoriya shouts out to them, but because of the fear the other students are instilling, they are all divided and unable to hear her. He says to himself, "I have to take matters into my own hands." Midoriya leaps into the air and grabs onto a pipe using his airbending ability. "I need everyone's attention, perhaps breathing fire will help." Midoriya lets forth a jet of low-burning red fire and cries, "Hey. Everyone, focus on me. There is nothing to be worried about. It's just the press. They got through the gate somehow, but this is not an attack, calm down and go back to the cafeteria. The pros can handle this situation, we're UA students." The moment they noticed the flames above them, everyone halted and noticed the green-haired adolescent who was hanging on a pipe by the window. Everyone listened to what he had to say, took note of it, and did what he instructed. Even when Midoriya informed everyone that the pro-heroes Amentus and Ectoplasm would handle the matter, he continued to hold onto the pipe. The pros then thanked Midoriya and left, and the bell for the lunch break was rung. Upon returning to class, Aizawa delivered a few announcements. "Okay class, some announcements. Present Mick and I handled the press when they got through the gate. 0. Don't upload fights where the identities of students and abilities can be revealed so early, you'll have time to do so later on during the sports festival, but Kirishima, keep your guard up and pay attention to your surrounding, and try to predict what your opponent will do, you'll get that with experience. Midoriya, you could have ended the fight as soon as it started, I'm glad you decided not to do that at first to try and get some up-close combat experience with those who are close-quarters fighters, you're not always going to be on the earth. I saw the way you used the water, it reminded me of using my capture scarf, I'll send you an email if you want to know some things to do more with it." I'm only saying this because Zero's recording was much clearer. Now the end of announcements, I want to thank Midoriya for handling the situation appropriately, although it's against the rules to use your quirk like that, we've let it slide for now. We're investigating how the press got in without a special ID. For now, just chat amongst yourselves after the rep and vice rep say their thank yous again. I'm gonna take a nap. I'd like to thank you all for voting for me to be the Class 1 rep," said Midoriya. "And I'd like to thank you all for voting for me to be the Class 1 vice rep," stated Yaoi Rozu. They sat down close to Uraraka, Todoroki, Iida, and Urashi. Iida said, as if it were suddenly true, "Midoriya, I am fully convinced you are the superior student." "No, I'm not Iida. Thank you for the compliment, but if you had the opportunity to do it, I'm sure you would have taken charge as well, that goes for everyone," said Midoriya. "I don't think it would have mattered." Everyone for a moment thought that they were all in danger, and we all flocked like sheep towards the exit. "Had you not been there, Midoriya, then some people could have been hurt rushing into the exit," Yaoyorozu continued. "We are thankful you took charge and no one got hurt. Midoriya, you say we all could have done what you did. But we didn't. Everyone had the chance to do it." "I agree with Yaoyorozu, glad you were there so no one was hurt," Todoroki said. Holding fast to his belief, Midoriya adds, "Well, thanks guys. But I still believe you all could have been able to." Todoroki answers, resting her head on the desk, "Whatever. I'm gonna see what's so great about these naps Aizawa takes." Midoriya and Uraraka murmur, "Alright Todoroki, have a nice nap." Yaoyorozu exposed her arm and allowed the cloth to form, creating a little blanket. Todoroki murmurs, "Thanks Momo." Uraraka says, "Okay, so who's going to wake her up when class starts?" Iida and Uraraka agreed with Yaoyorozu when he said, "I'm not, I don't want to risk getting frozen or burned." "Inasa?" inquired Midoriya. As much as I'd like to, I think she'd be very mad if I woke her up. We didn't exactly meet on good impressions with each other." He responded. "Alright, I'll do it then. If I'm frozen I can get out, if I'm burned I can heal it. I asked recovery girl to teach me some healing things, so I always keep some small first aid in the pocket of my jacket," said Midoriya. "I hope with my quirk I can find some technique to help me with some healing thing, I'm mostly offensive and defensive." Uraraka asks, "Well, what about your water?" Urashi spoke for Midoriya when he said, "I don't think water can help Uraraka much, Midoriya mostly uses it in both offensive and defense situations." "Well, the human body is mostly comprised of water, so maybe something can happen if I focus some energy into the water on a small injury like a burn or a cut. I can talk to recovery girl to see. There's also Aizawa who talked about the water thing I do, I don't know if it's actually similar, I just have some water tentacles to expand my combat range," replied Midoriya. Iida said, "If you can learn to heal, you could possibly be the strongest in the class." To which everyone agreed, even the sleeping Todoroki gave a small nod. Not wanting the two to find out and become agitated, Yaoyorozu murmured, "Possibly stronger than Todoroki or Bakugo." With a low voice, Midoriya said, "Then I'll learn to heal." The gang talked for a long, whispering to Todoroki so he wouldn't wake up when they were too noisy. Bakugo was reprimanding Shiro and Kirishima across the room for making a poor joke about him. Kaminari discussed lunch with Ishido. "Where were you at lunch?" Shiro asked about you. She admitted, "Well, I went to go sit with Midoriya. I wanted to ask him something, but I was interrupted by big panic the press caused." "What did you want to ask him, Mina?" "I wanted to ask if he wanted to go hang out after school today. Like a date." "No, it's not like that." Okay. "But if you want to ask him to hang out I'd do it right now, looks like Ejiro and Hagakure are asking him something. He stays after school to help Urashi with some moves, Ejiro is probably gonna ask to spar, maybe the same with Hagakure." "Alright, once they're done I'll go talk to them." Ejiro and Hagakure were requested by Midoriya, a 2-on-1 spar. "Yeah, I wanted to spar against you since Kirishima did yesterday, and I was talking to Hagakure about it to test if your seismic sense is a real thing." Ejiro responded, I'm helping out Inasa with some moves, but I can do it at the same time," responded Midoriya. Urashi asked Midoriya, "Do you want to ask Shiro and Kirishima to record and commentate?" "Well, I guess, it was fun hearing them talk, but they distracted you yesterday," said Midoriya. "But I'll ask them." "Awesome. Hey, what about after school then?" Hagakure inquired. "Yeah, I have to ask Aizawa to show me where the gym is at so we can spar." "Fantastic," Hagakure and Ejiro answered. "I'll go in blindfolded if you guys want me to, I can still see with my seismic sense," responded Midoriya. "Alright," Hagakure answered in a tone that suggested he didn't trust Midoriya. Hey Midori ectoplasm entered the room to begin the maths lesson, interrupting Ishido once more. Midoriya shook Todoroki to wake him up, saying, "Hey, Todoroki, class is about to start." "Izuku?" she answered back. She looked away and flushed instantly. "Thank you Midoriya, I appreciate it." Midoriya, could you please complete the first 5 homework problems?" Ectoplasm inquired. "Yes, immediately." Ishido was a little agitated, Hagakure and Ejiro were enthusiastic for the spar, Bakugo was explosive with how quick yet awful at maths he was, and class was about to start. Todoroki's blush had ceased. After school, All Might's class, Foundational Hero Studies, began. Although All Might taught the material, Aizawa taught the students today's lesson, which was limited to studying phrases they might encounter in the field regarding disasters. After school, Midoriya hurriedly gathered his belongings and asked Aizawa where the gym was. He was informed that it was Gym Gamma. Midoriya then inquired if it was acceptable to spar there, and Aizawa gave him a resounding yes. Gym Gamma is the site, Ajiro, Hagakure. There, I'll meet you guys. Alright, Midoriya. I'll see you there, they responded as they turned to go. Kaminari, Zero. Inasa asked if you guys could videotape and commentate again when I spar. Alright. Yes, we will do that, Zero and Kaminari uttered a single sentence. Great, we're gonna be at Gym Gamma and I'll make a commentator stand for you too. That is fantastic. And they both left the classroom. Inasa, go to Gym Gamma, that's where we'll practice, I'm gonna buy some water bottles for target practice for you. Fantastic. I'm also gonna ask Recovery Girl something. Excellent. Izuku, I'll see you there, Urashi answered as he left the classroom. Midoriya, I apologize if I upset you, after uttering your name, I felt uneasy too. Todoroki bows and says, I'm sorry and I appreciate you waking me up for class. Todoroki, it's okay if you wish to address me by name, that's acceptable. It will take some getting used to, but I don't mind. There's nothing to apologize for, it was simply unanticipated. Oh, okay, Midizuku, she answered, tucking a lock of her white hair behind her ear as she left. For a duration of 2 minutes, Midoriya strolled around the building in search of Recovery Girl's office. Knock, knock. Oh, Recovery Girl. Yes, dearie. I wanted to ask a question regarding my quirk. Do you think I might be able to heal using my water abilities? Recovery Girl said, I'm not sure, but we can try. As she reached into her cupboard and took out a scalpel. Oh geez, I can just give myself a small burn and try it out instead, sharp things kinda freak me out, I'm sorry. Oh, that's alright, I didn't know All Might gave his power to a wuss. A wuss? Fine, use the scalpel. How do you know about One for All? Please, I healed his injuries when he didn't watch how reckless he was in fights, getting beaten too much for not using his head or hurting people a bit too much. Now come on, I'll do a small cut on your finger. Using a jug of water, Recovery Girl slashes Midoriya's finger. Okay, now try it, if you can't heal it, I'll heal it and you feel a little tired, not much since it's a small cut. After Midoriya makes a motion to retrieve the water, he covers his hand with the wet material. When Midoriya directs his energy towards the water applied to the wound, the cut heals and the water takes on a blue-silver color. Whoa, that was awesome. Great, you can leave now, it's good to hear there's another healer in UA, come in another time and we can test more things as to what you can heal, I assume right now cuts, bruises, and burns can be healed or treated. Great, I'll be back soon, hopefully not too soon. Better not. Ashido approached Midoriya as he was heading to his locker to retrieve his belongings. She looks down, then at the lockers, then at his clothing, then at his face and into his eyes, saying, Hey Midoriya, I've been meaning to talk to you. Hey Mina. What did you want to talk about? She looked away from his eyes and said, well, if it's not too much to ask, I wanted to know if you wanted to go hang out today, or tomorrow, or this weekend, or whenever. He responded, patting her shoulder and scratching the back of his head, well, I'm doing stuff in a bit with Inasa, Ajiro, Hagakure, Zero, and Kaminari. I'd like to hang out, say, this weekend. Only a few more days till then. Mina smiles brightly and sparkles as she looks back into his eyes. Awesome, I'll give you my number so we can talk about it during the week. Alright. Following the exchange of numbers, they split off, with Ashido heading towards the exit with butterflies in her tummy and Midoriya heading to the locker room to change. Urashi said, Izuku. Where are the water bottles? Midoriya rushes to a water fountain and says, Erg, I forgot, let me get some water from the building real quick. He lets the water stream and lets it cover his arms like a tentacle. Will you be making any ice cups then? Urashi inquired. Yeah, here. Midoriya threw them into the air and Urashi used wind control to direct them to where they should attempt to land. Ajiro, Hagakure, Zero, and Kaminari cry out, Midoriya. Where were you? Oh, I just talked to Recovery Girl and then Mina wanted to talk to me. Ajiro inquired, oh, okay, it's your business, I won't ask anything, but the others were indifferent. They all said, what did you talk about? Simultaneously. Well, I learned to heal small cuts with Recovery Girl with my water and Ashido asked me to go hang out this weekend. Together, they said, like a date. No, I'm pretty sure it's not a date. She just said hanging out and she gave me her number. Kaminari teased, does Midoriya have a crush? Zero continued, does Mina have a crush? Hagakure wrote in her post, they're probably crushing on each other. Enough, come on, you guys came here so I can wipe the floor with you, let's get to it. Kaminari, hand me your tie. I'm gonna go blindfolded. Midoriya said, as sparks flew from Kaminari's body, he screamed, oh man. I'm already excited, here. Before throwing his tie to Midoriya, who wrapped it around his eyes. Midoriya created a small commentator's booth with stone benches and a small phone stand, adopting a similar posture to when he created the first sparring ring. Whoa. They all cried out. Midoriya shouted, let's get to it. Midoriya didn't believe it, so Ejiro climbed onto the platform and waited for Hagakure to undress so she could test Midoriya's seismic sense. I'm Hanta and I'm with my co-host Denki Kaminari. We're here to see the Elemental Man take on his second match. He's currently 1-0 with a win against Red Riot. What's your prediction for this match, Kaminari? Well, Zero, seeing Midoriya's quirk control, I'd say he'll win this one once again. Hagakure is in the nude fully invisible, and Ejiro has a tail. Midoriya might want to use his close quarters attacks, maybe utilizing a stone armor similar to the gloves we saw before. Midoriya is blindfolded, but I think it puts him at an advantage being able to still see with his seismic sense. I'm rooting for the underdogs this match, man. This match is between the Elemental Man on a 1-on-2 with the Tailman and Invisible Girl. Let's rock. Kaminari shouts, sparks flying from his body. Here we see Midoriya putting on some stone armor as he moves very quickly towards Ejiro who defends with his tail. The stone armor is only on his arms, leaving everything else open. Ooh, Hagakure seems to be hitting Midoriya's unprotected sides. Could this be too much too early for him? Whoa. Seems like it's not. Midoriya burst into green flames and caused Ejiro and Hagakure to back up. I don't know where she is, but she could be plotting something. Midoriya keeps the armored arms though. But the resulting move of the flames caused his shirt to burn off. But not his blindfold, which is also my tie. Any female fans might be gawking at him because he is shredded. If I wasn't straight, this could have gotten me, Kaminari. Haha, I hear you. Midoriya's taking on the offensive on Ejiro with flaming kicks. I haven't seen him use his fire like this before, but I did see him breathe fire today. And there it is. Green fire at an empty area, which I can only assume is Hagakure. You're right, that was a very feminine screech unless it was Ejiro. Midoriya has built a pyramid, I'm assuming he's trapped Hagakure. Still blindfolded, if he does this from now on I'll have to call him the Blind Bandit because he's stealing this W from the duo. I like that name, and from that smirk on Midoriya's face, I'm sure he likes that name as well. Now if Ejiro manages to beat Midoriya, then it's a win for them, even though Midoriya has beaten Hagakure. Midoriya doesn't seem to be using his quirk, except for his seismic sense maybe. He's blocking Ejiro's movements like it's breathing, sliding in jabs and knees in there to try and break down Ejiro's tail defense. This flurry of traded hits is incredible, it's like watching two boxers go at it. This just seems to be a slugfest of just punches at each other, minimal blocking, both trying to get each other down. This seems very brutal, but Ejiro is directing this one-on-one towards the pyramid where Hagakure is at. Oh, he smashes it open, and it seems that Midoriya is blocking both flurries of his from each person. Is he gonna use his quirk again? Oh, he is. Breathing out another stream of fire and flipping away from them to give himself some space. Might call him a dancing dragon. That's pretty clever there, but now we see Ejiro staying back and Midoriya on a one-on-one with Hagakure. He mostly defends against her, and in his windows of opportunity, he's launching rocks over at Ejiro, who defends by swinging that powerful tail. Is Midoriya gonna hit a girl? It could be seen as either nothing and being seen as equal opportunity, or very bad, in the sense that Midoriya could be seen as sexist, as he hits her, or sexist if he doesn't. Hard case for him. Seems like Midoriya isn't going to bury them, but also seems like he doesn't want to break them either. He slides the ground over somehow to move Hagakure, it seems, and Midoriya is rushing Ejiro with his body encased in another stone armor. Midoriya pulls off a sick-ass flying kick to Ejiro and knocks him off the ring. Ejiro even defended with his tail. Now it's Midoriya and Hagakure. The one who didn't believe he could see without his eyes only made it harder for her due to his seismic sense. It looks like Midoriya is still defending the hits, even as some seem to get through pushing him back. Kaminari, is it bad for him to actually hit her or no? Well, she's planning to be a hero and heroes have to take a hit, and ever since the laws and social norms changed over the decades, I personally don't think it matters. She's also just a person with different pronouns, and it doesn't matter. With that being said, knock her off. Everyone hears Hagakure cry and witnesses the dirt where she landed. Midoriya backs up and releases a burst of air from his palms where Hagakure is said to be. Kaminari declares, the Blind Bandit, formerly known as the Elemental Man, has triumphed. Zero responds, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more soon. Midoriya and Ejiro shout, Hagakure. Hagakure. I'm sorry, I didn't mean for you to fly so far, I just wanted to push you lightly off the platform. Midoriya offers an apology. She's still breathing, she's just knocked out. Ejiro, get her clothes for her. Ejiro scrambles to get her clothes, and they try not to be perverts while dressing her as much as they can. Midoriya. A stunned Hagakure queries. How'd I get these clothes on? Ejiro and Midoriya blush a vivid red. Well, we got your clothes and put your shirt and trousers on without really touching you, we didn't do anything, we swear. You can ask Anasa or Zero or Kaminari. Midoriya continues. It's fine Midoriya, I know you two are gentlemen, you wouldn't take advantage of anyone. But I gotta say, I didn't expect you to stay shirtless Midoriya, I can see why Mina digs you. With a low chuckle, Midoriya grabs his suitcase and takes out a white t-shirt. Oh, fuck. I'm sorry I didn't put on a shirt. I'm also so very sorry about the air thing. I didn't think you'd be flown off like that, I'm sorry. Midoriya, it's fine. I might have some bruising, but I'm not hurt in any way, if anything I'm gonna be sore for tomorrow. Same here Midoriya, your moves hurt my tail a lot, but thank you for the spar. Said Ejiro. Midoriya leaps to one of the ice cups he constructed for Urashi to knock down, successfully knocking down two, but struggling to continue, saying, Ejiro. Your tail is bleeding a little, let me help. You'll get better at this Inasa, don't worry. I'm gonna grab the fallen ones, you made good progress. After I heal Ejiro we can walk to the train together. Alright Izuku. When Midoriya melted the falling ice cups and covered Ejiro's injury with his hand, the water started to glow and Ejiro's tail healed quickly. Midoriya inhaled deeply before doing this. He told them, there, should be fine now. Whoa. Was the cry heard by everybody? You weren't kidding Midoriya. Yeah, that's why I went to Recovery Girl, I can heal my own wounds as well, but for now I can do small cuts and burns, she said bruises as well, but I don't think some bruises are worth being healed if they can go away after a while. I gotta train it up. I think you're one of the strongest people in the class Midoriya. Answered Ejiro. I know you wanted to get better at your close combat even though you easily could have immobilized us like you did with Bakugo and Kirishima, but I'm glad you didn't, showing you're more than capable to handle different situations. Midoriya, I guess I shouldn't have doubted your abilities, you were able to see me. What do I even look like? Replied Hagakure. Well, I see more so an outline, I can't see distinct features like facial features. And I see through vibrations of anything, so like a ship on water, I can also detect bodily changes like a change in breathing and heart rate. Midoriya clarified. Oh, Hagakure said, seeming a little let down. It shouldn't matter what you look like, I'm sure you look great either way. Anyways, Inasa and I are going to head over to the train. Midoriya said, picking up his bag and leaving with Inasa after tidying the grounds. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the USJ. They called, see ya, Midoriya, Urashi. After exiting the gates, Urashi and Midoriya engaged in casual talk. So you have a date this weekend Izuku? It's not a date Inasa, Mina wanted to hang out so who am I to deny someone a hangout day? With a back pat, Urashi replies, that's true, I'm proud of you, Midoriya. I might try and get Shiizaki's number tomorrow or something and thank her for the rosary. I saw what she looked like, I guess she has a plant-related quirk which is really cool. Yeah, she's got passion, I could tell from those eyes of hers. There's one guy in 1B that's really annoying, he's got some blonde hair, but I didn't catch his name. Really? I hope both the hero classes can get along. So what are you and Ishido gonna do this weekend? I'm not really sure Inasa. Maybe get something to eat and then a movie or an arcade or something she'd like to do. You sure do a good job at making not sound like a date Izuku. To the surprise of others, Midoriya screamed, it's not a date. I'm sorry for yelling, but it's not a date Inasa. It's fine, you stood your ground, I respect that. I pushed it too far. I apologize for my actions as well. It's fine Inasa, I know you just like to tease. I guess I'm just feeling embarrassed by today. Mina asking to hang out, Todoroki calling me Izuku when she woke up and now I gave her permission of whatever to call me that now. And having to fight Hagakure. I guess today has been a little strange. But look at the bright side. You're the class rep, you prevented a bad outcome if everyone continued to stampede through the exit doors and you're helping them improve by fighting. Plus you might already gain a following thanks to Shiro and Kaminari for recording and commentating on the spars. Plus you learn to heal, even if it's a little it's still always good to have during rescue ops. You're right Inasa. Thank you. After boarding the train, the two headed home, Urashi to his house and Midoriya to his, where he had dinner with his mother, spoke with his father via video call, and even informed them about the spars. Alright class, that does it with announcements. Now, we're going to go change into our PE uniforms or the hero costumes, choose either one. Once we're done changing we're to report outside with Aizawa to get on a bus to the USJ, are there any comments or questions? Midoriya responded with a question. With eagerness, Ishido exclaimed, I have a comment. Midoriya nodded for her to continue. I have to say Midoriya, I didn't know you were so shredded. Uraraka flexed her arms in jest, saying, yeah. I saw your spar with Ejiro and Hagakure online and you're very muscly Deku. Iida corrected the two, saying, girls, that is not appropriate to say about our class rep. No Iida, it's fine. Thank you for your comments, but does anyone have any comments or questions about what's going on at the USJ? You can ask me or Yayoi Rozu, as Awa ran us down on what's happening today. A few shrugs and silence ensued. Yaoirozu concluded the announcements with, "I'll take that as a no, go get your hero costumes or PE uniforms change and meet outside soon. Midoriya, may I speak with you for a moment?" Yeah sure, what's up?" "Since we're both the class reps, I find it only reasonable for us to get to know each other, so maybe sometime this week or this weekend, we can go out together in order to get to know each other." Yaoirozu remarked with assurance. "I'm busy the rest of this week and Mina wanted to hang out. Maybe sometime next week would fit in, maybe Monday after school or something," replied Midoriya. "Next Monday is fine, now go get changed. You too." He grinned in response. When Midoriya entered the changing area, he was watched. He pointed at himself and said, do I have something on my face?" Mineta drooled and exclaimed, "Did Yaoirozu, the hottest girl in class, ask you out?" "No, she only said we should get to know each other, since we're both the class reps." Inasa emphasized, "Well, she's the vice rep." Iida expressed his ideas, "Even so, I think it's smart, you will be working together, so it's only right to get to know a partner." Midoriya answered, "Took the words right out of my mouth, Iida, thank you. But still, must feel pretty nice knowing you got girls crushing on you Midoriya." Zero said. A number of the guys laughed as Kaminari said, "Yeah, the blind bandit must be pretty good at stealing their hearts." Everyone changed clothes and left. "Deku!" exclaimed Bakugo. "Yeah, Kaken. Listen, I don't give a shit if you're the class rep or have the class dick riding you. I'm still gonna kick your ass. Hey, are you jealous Kaken? Or what?" Bakugo looks at the trying not to laugh Midoriya. "I'm sorry, you really seem bothered by it, I'll stop. What the fuck is wrong with you? What? I can't ask my childhood friend if he's jealous of me." Bakugo shot back, "No, the fuck. I'm not jealous of you. I'll kick your ass Deku." "Okay Kaken." Yaoirozu said, "Everyone, get on the bus in an orderly fashion." "Midoriya, why am I doing your job?" Midoriya said neutrally, "It's also part of your job." Kaken just wanted to have a personal talk. "Alright, thanks for clearing it up, we should get on as well. Would you like to sit with me? We can chat a little bit if you'd like." "Why yeah, sure." It was not an awful bus ride. Yaoirozu had seen Iida with the Turbo Hero and Genium at charity events, so Midoriya inferred that Iida came from a hero family and that Yaoirozu was a wealthy girl. Students also inquired about Midoriya's quirk and how it resembles Todoroki's in having several oddities. Yaoirozu inquired, "Midoriya, what peculiarities do your parents have?" "Well, my mom has a weak form of telekinesis called attraction and my father can breathe fire. My quirk was a major change, kind of, a mix of those. I could have gotten some form of telekinesis or fire-based quirk, a mix of it like pyrokinesis, but I have that and other kinesis abilities." Midoriya was interrupted by Kaminari, who yelled, "Or could be attracting hot things, you know, cause you got all the girls with you." "It's not like that at all Kaminari. Anyways, I'm sure I can do more with my quirk the more I work on it," replied Midoriya. Inquiring, "Like what?" Asui Midoriya pats his water pouch and says, "Well, I think I might be able to control lava or metal. I already learned how to heal with my water. It'll be very useful with rescue operations." "Sounds like it'll prove useful. And you can call me Tsai." Asui responded, "I think I'm more comfortable with Asui as I don't know you as much and I also put you to sleep by freezing you to a wall." Returning to a conversation with Uraraka, Asui said, "That's fine. I understand." Mina asked Midoriya, "So, what do you want to do this weekend?" I was thinking we could go to an arcade or something, maybe get something to eat afterwards as well, on me, or you can pay for your meals if you want," responded Midoriya. Mina shouted into Midoriya and Yaoirozu's ears, "I'll be fine covering myself, Midoriya. You can text me the details later, it looks like we're here." After everyone got off the bus, Aizawa entered the USJ through the front doors and was met by someone who appeared to be wearing a space suit and a wide variety of places. Midoriya thought to himself, "I remember this is where Nezu gave me the recommendation and where I found a major increase in my quirk thanks to One for All. Hero number 13. Midoriya and Uraraka said simultaneously. Uraraka yelled, "He's my favorite hero." Midoriya cried, "I hope I can get his autograph." Aizawa asked 13, "Where's All Might, did he choose not to come and go to an interview?" 13 was gesturing to Midoriya and Aizawa with 3 fingers, "He actually did too much hero work this morning. He's in the teacher's lounge." Aizawa remarked, "Well, he always has to do something stupid doesn't he?" "Alright students, I've got some things to tell you all. My quirk is called Black Hole and I can use it to suck up anything and turn it to dust. It's great for saving people from all kinds of disasters, but my quirk can very easily be used to kill. Some of you also have powers that can be dangerous and the government has stringent regulations on quirks, so we often overlook how dangerous they could be. If you're not focused or careful, your quirks could be dangerous even if you're trying to rescue someone." From Aizawa's fitness test, you have an idea of your potential, and from All Might's combat training, you've seen how dangerous your quirks can be when used against other people. Carry those lessons to this class, because you'll use your quirks to save people's lives. You won't attack enemies or each other, only to help, because that's what being a hero is really about. 13 ended his remarks with cheers from the majority of the classmates. Okay, so that's over, we can. Aizawa was cut off when the building's electrical supply surged, killing the lights, but light continued to enter via the enormous doors and windows. Near the water fountain in the middle of the USJ, a portal appeared. It was black in the middle and had purple mist strands emerging from it. When Aizawa turned around, she noticed a man coming out of the portal. Aizawa gave an order, stay together and don't move. As she heard protests. 13, protect the students. Individuals started to emerge from the gateway, one man in particular, dressed all in black and bearing several hands on his body, posed menacingly. What's going on? Replied Kirishima. Wait, has the training started already? I thought we were rescuing people. Aizawa said, stay back. And put on his goggles. With gasps from the entire class, I said, this is real, those are villains. A voice said, the only real heroes I see are Eraserhead and 13. Perplexing, according to the schedule we retrieved from UA, All Might should be here as well. So you scumbags used a press as a cover and sneaked onto campus. Aizawa said. The man with the hand said, where is he? I can't believe All Might isn't here. Maybe if I kill a few kids, he'll come out to play, but one of you kids are going to be a real pain. And then a large grotesque man with an exposed brain and beak emerged from the portal, saying, I went through the trouble of recruiting so many people who are eager to meet All Might. They want All Might, the symbol of peace. Aizawa prepared his scarves for capture. Kirishima inquired, how did villains get into the facility? Yayoi Rozu said, yeah, 13, why aren't the alarms going off? He answered, I'm not sure. Todoroki inquired, is the entire campus under attack, or just this area? Either way, if the alarm sensors aren't being triggered, then one of these villains must have a quirk that's masking their presence here. They chose this facility because it's isolated and is an entry point when a class is in session. They're fools for trespassing here, but they've thought this out. If they're here, they must have an objective, but what is it? She finished getting gasps from additional pupils. Aizawa gave the command, 13, get them out of here and alert the main campus. Actually, if they've got the ability to block our sensors, then they might be jamming out regular communications too. Kaminari, try using your quirk to contact the school. Kaminari concurred, and Midoriya inquired, what are you gonna do? You can't fight them on your own. There's too many of them, and even if you can nullify their quirks, your fighting style isn't suited for this. You seem to excel at stealth and one-on-one fights. That's not going to help with a group. Aizawa answered, you can't be a pro if you only have one trick. Suddenly, however, Midoriya was engulfed in a purple mist and, with a defiant shout, went there. Midoriya. Some inquired, where'd Midoriya go? He's in this cage, I can't have someone as powerful as him get in the way, if he tries to melt the metal, it'll just get all over him, and he'll burn. The man with the hand says. With a crash and cries for assistance, the giant tosses the cage onto its side. Aizawa exclaims in a fit of wrath, 13, protect the students. As he storms down the stairs and dispatches the bad guys one by one. Man hands remark loudly, there he goes trying to intimidate us. He's good, I'll give him that. So annoying. Looking through a hole, Midoriya sees Aizawa battling the bad guys. He starts examining him, but eventually realizes that he must escape the prison in order to defend his class as the class representative. When the students dash for the door, a hazy man greets them and says there isn't a way out. The shadowy man expands and 13 readies something, but is interrupted by Kirishima and Bakugo jumping at the villain and swiping with a hardened hand, followed by an explosion. It's a pleasure to meet you. We are the League of Villains. I know it's impolite, but we decided to invite ourselves in this haven of justice to say hello. And plus, isn't this a fitting place for All Might, the symbol of peace, to take his last breath? I believe he was supposed to be here today, and yet I see no sign of him. There must have been some sort of change of plans we could not have foreseen. I suppose in the end it doesn't matter, I still have a role to play. Blowing slits in the mist glare at the conclusion, you live up to your school's reputation. But you should be more careful, children. Otherwise, someone might get hurt. A portion of 13's glove is open, pointing at the bad guy. She commands, you two, get out of the way right now. The misty-faced man said, I'll scatter you across this facility to meet my comrades and your deaths. As tendrils swept through the crowded class. Bakugo and Kirishima were sent to a broken building where they fought off villains in almost perfect tandem. Yaoyorozu, Jiro, and Kaminari were sent to a mountain zone where they fended off villains with a sword and metal pole. Asui and Mineta were sent to a water location where they defended themselves from water-based villains. Todoroki was transported to a mountainous area and froze the villains around her. While Tokoyami and Koda were placed in a wet area of the USJ and Ejiro was sent to a fire zone alone, the other students stayed near the exit where the teleportation villain was still present. Midoriya kept on pounding on the large unyielding metal box. The metal was also rather dark, which could indicate that it was painted or that it had a lot of earthly contaminants. Even though Midoriya could not see the impurities, he continued to pound on the metal in an attempt to control the impurities present in it. Midoriya made the decision to close his eyes and use his seismic sense to investigate the facility. He saw everyone else, but he was unable to see Asui or Mineta. Bakugo, Kirishima and Todoroki were all great. With the exception of Inasa, who was furious, the rest of the class was undoubtedly afraid. Shoji says they've been scattered throughout the facility with a set of eyes and ears growing out of his body. Telling him, but our classmates are still here, Iida. Iida had suddenly assumed the role of student leader. The announcement was met with a collective sigh of relief. 13 said, Iida, I have a job for you. Run to the school and let them know what's going on. The alarms aren't sounding and communications are down, it might be the work of one of the villains. We need you to get help. But it would be disgraceful to leave you all behind. Responded Iida. Urashi answered, Iida. Go. Go now. We'll hold them off. Objectively, I'm the strongest student here. I am the hero of the wind, the hero of passion. We need your passion too, Iida. Go and alert the school what's going on. As long as you're outside, it's just homestretch there. I believe in you, Tenya Iida. Be a real hero, use your quirk to save others. Exclaimed 13. Iida, I can make you quicker by removing the weight from your costume. Told Uraraka. Iida prepared his engine legs, seeing this as a need. The mist guy fired out tendrils, but 13 stopped him by using his quirk to suck in those tendrils. Are you all foolish enough to strategize in front of your enemy, 17 exclaimed. Midoriya saw but was unable to hear what was going on. I have to leave this place to keep everyone safe. I have to rescue them. I really should leave this place, All Might gave me his quirk, Midoriya mentally cried out to himself. Midoriya became enraged and tried to escape. He heard some screams and panicked, but a force eventually overwhelmed him. He was overtaken by brilliant green eyes, so he rose up and ripped open the metal with his hands. Unaware of what was going on, Hands Man cried, what the fuck is going on? A dome of quickly moving air engulfed Midoriya's body and he started to soar into the skies. To witness the sight, everyone put down their activities. With his head thrown back, Midoriya extended his arms and shot powerful flames from his mouth, hands, and legs. The flames shifted, encircling him in a circle. The man-made lake began to freeze as water from it began to rise in the biggest wave they had ever seen, condensing into a band around him. The villain's neck was driven far into the earth as the entire landslip and mountain region trembled. Massive rocks surged and shrank into another band, emerging all around him. Midoriya had turned on the portion of One for All that gave him an enormous boost in power output. Because Midoriya was in a dreamscape and seeing the former holders of One for All, he was ignorant of this rush of power. Hi there, you must be Izuku Midoriya, I'm Nana Shimura. Your body is going into overdrive, you currently can't control what's going on, your body is kind of on autopilot for now. Your friends will be in good hands. I won't kill, will I? Shimura smiled and answered, no, if anything you'll just incapacitate them. She forced a forced smile that eventually became natural, putting her fingers to the side of her mouth and exclaiming, come on, didn't All Might teach you anything? Smile. It's always the strongest who smile. Or the insane ones, in Midoriya's opinion. What am I doing here? Well, I'd just like to give you help with One for All. All Might is alive and probably isn't the greatest teacher. You were also sent here because you were in great distress and One for All took over, kind of like an amplified One for All. You're reaching capabilities that you can't normally reach now, but later on you'll be able to master this in bursts or controlled in prolonged time without feeling tired. When I let you go back you'll be very vulnerable and tired once you come out of it. Your power and incredible, freezing an entire lake, taking apart an entire mountain, incredible fire and air, you're something, Tashi sure did pick a great kid. Well, I'm just glad I know more about this. I can talk to All Might later, I need to get control back over my body. Okay, Izuku. You can call me Nana, I don't mind. She waves goodbye with another beaming smile. When Midoriya returns to his body, he finds that no time has actually passed and that everyone is still staring at him as he controls all four elements simultaneously in the air. Nomu, get rid of him. Exclaimed the man with the hands. The giant known as Nomu leaped at Midoriya, who swiftly fired ice and rocks at the monster at amazing speeds using the earth and water shards. The Nomu was thrown to the ground, creating a crater and severed limbs when the ice and earth collided. The worried look on Midoriya's face caused the Nomu to start healing. It worried him to see that it would take it like a push, even though he believed he might have killed it. It broke through even though Midoriya had buried it up to its neck in the ground. The Nomu jumped back at Midoriya, who utilized the water to send a jet of water at him at a high pressure. This knocked the Nomu back to the ground and caused the water to tear off a limb, which instantly regrows. The eerie villain yelled, "Even you're no match for my Nomu. He was made to kill All Might, now he'll kill you." More rocks and ice were hurled at the Nomu by Midoriya, who said, "No. I will overcome this. I will prevail." Ignoring the cosmetic green, Midoriya blasted a tremendous blast of fire at the Nomu's body, aiming 2 blasts at its arms. "I will become a hero, save everyone, and defeat you," Midoriya said. "It's capable of regeneration, and I doubt it even experiences pain. Even if I carbonize the cells, they won't grow new arms. I ought to treat my legs in the same way subsequently. The heat is becoming unbearable, I must accumulate some ice on my body," Midoriya ruminated in his mind. To survive the heat, Midoriya built up ice on his body. Everyone was in disbelief at what was happening. He shouted, scorching away the Nomu's arms and going to its legs, I've got to go beyond. Plus ultra. Hiro said, his head low in the dirt as he observed all the baddies. Did Midoriya do this? Kaminari cried, holy crap. Midoriya is the strongest in the class. Gazing at Midoriya facing the Nomu, Yaoi Rozu uttered, yeah, I guess he is. She created sunglasses that let the 3 of them see what was happening as soon as she saw the flames. When Todoroki saw Midoriya in the air, spewing streams of fire from his hand so hot that Midoriya covered his body in ice, she was no longer perplexed about the villains she had arrested that were on the ground. Aizawa took advantage of the villains' pause in their actions to look about and dispatched all those who were distracted. With a worried expression, Aizawa told Midoriya not to put himself in danger by going near any dangerous situations. Because the teleportation villain was sidetracked, Urashi was able to imprison it in a cyclone of his own creation and order Iida to hurry to UA so the teachers could be informed. Urashi kept trapping the bad guy after Iida broke through the doors. The other pupils found it hard to believe what was going on. Midoriya was upsetting a monster designed to destroy All Might. Shiro said softly, he really is a elemental man. That's the name you gave him in the spars, right Shiro? Replied Uraraka. Yeah. Deku is really amazing, Uraraka said to herself. The hands man exclaimed, Nuo, how dare you do this to my Nomu? Why isn't he regenerating? Midoriya kept crying out on the Nomu. It simply turned into a stump, a big chunk incapable of walking or even moving its arms. Midoriya let the water return to the man-made lake, scattered the stones, and let the fire spread. Using the soil as leverage, he managed to slide the metal box encasing him, seizing the Nomu, and even managing to get its beak stopped. Before the bright green glow faded and Midoriya dropped to the ground next to the opponent, he caused the villains he was battling to become stuck in the ground and trapped the hands man in a triangle of stone. Glowing green eyes were looking across at Aizawa as they were standing up. Aizawa cried out, Midoriya. As he witnessed his pupil collapse to the ground. Ignoring that the stone pyramid was crumbling and turning to dust, Aizawa hurried to Midoriya and felt for his pulse and respiration. With a gentle slap on his face, Aizawa told Midoriya, you're alive, you're alright. Wake up. But he showed no signs of awakening. He became aware that he was completely covered in ice fragments and that the gloves on his superhero costume had burned off. In the hopes that Midoriya wasn't too cold, Aizawa attempted to remove the ice from him. Come on Midoriya. As the guy with the hands was ready to touch Aizawa's skull, the doors suddenly burst open, revealing the entire faculty, the pros there to assist the students, with Iida holding Principal Nezu. Well, looks like kids are your weakness, Eraserhead. The first to move was Snipe, who pulled out his handgun and fired a shot at the man's hands. When he utilized his quirk too long and passed out, Inasa released his hold. The hands guy was suddenly followed by the teleporting villain. Tamura Shigaraki, I believe it's time for us to leave. He said. Kurogiri, I think you're right, they're way too high of a level for us, we'll be back once we've leveled the playing field, Shigaraki said. As soon as Aizawa heard the names, he ignored Shigaraki's odd behavior, just in time to see more bullets from Snipe strike Shigaraki in the arms and legs. Shigaraki was engulfed by the portal, and the purple mist vanished. Aizawa swore, saying, shit. He believed he ought to have been more prepared and done more to assist his students. With all the enemies' necks buried in the earth, Snipe exclaimed, what the hell? What in tarnation did this? Aizawa held Midoriya and murmured, Midoriya did, Snipe. Cementus, can you help me out? With a sorrowful tone, All Might said, I'll take him Eraserhead. Aizawa gave the youngster, who was unconscious, to the most powerful hero. I apologize, young Midoriya. I should have been there for everyone, for you. All Might said, glancing at the boy's blackened hands and scorched gloves. All Might was on the verge of tears, but he maintained a serious expression. I don't know what happened and I don't know how to make it up to you. But when you're awake, I'll make it up to you however you want me to. Toshinori Yagi saw Midoriya as a stand-in son, but he was never able to establish or maintain a bond. For this reason, he trained him, got him the shoes, and when he wasn't in his heroic mode, they would go out to lunch. To him, Midoriya was like a son, and All Might was, without realizing it, the physical father figure that Midoriya so desperately desired. The police and hero succeeded in apprehending and burying Midoriya's baddies. After locating the Nomu in a safe spot, they couldn't figure out why they lacked arms or legs. While they waited for their bus, the students were curious about the whereabouts of Urashi and Midoriya. "Where are Urashi and Midoriya?" Yaoi Rozu inquired of an official. "Oh, they're both in the back of some ambulances, they overexerted themselves and passed out. They'll be fine, but Midoriya has some nasty burns on his hands, even with Recovery Girl, he might stun a bit much to his hands, he also had a really cold body, so we're warming him up." A government official replied. "Thank you for informing me, I'll pass this on to my classmates." Yaoi Rozu replied. Turning, she went to the classroom where Urashi was standing and talking with the students. With a brief embrace, Yaoi Rozu said, "Urashi. You're okay. Did you see Midoriya?" "Yeah, Aizawa is with him. Recovery Girl won't heal him until he's awake, but they're heating up his body. He apparently encased his body in ice to achieve the heat and power of those flames to keep himself from burning up. I swear, Izuku can be really crazy. I'm still so shaken up about him." Urashi raises his hands to his sides and gazes down. Urashi's knuckles turn white and his tone becomes warning to everyone that he might break and cry. "I think the kid I met with a developing quirk who loved heroes so much. The kid I made smile all the time at the dojo together. The kid I used to hang out with. He needs to be heated up and his hands are burned and he's unconscious. I didn't do anything to protect him. Why couldn't I help my friend? I was there, I'm strong enough. So why couldn't I be there to help my friend? He overexerted himself for all of us, he's passed out because I couldn't help him." An intervening hand rests on his shoulder. "It's not your fault, Urashi." When he turns around, Aizawa is there. "He overexerted himself to protect everyone here. It was foolish, but in the end none of you were hurt. Midoriya is awake, but he's still very tired. You all can see him after school. We need to get on the bus and return to campus. By the time the day ends, you'll all be able to see him if he's awake by then." Aizawa speaks to everyone. He draws Urashi away so they can speak. "Urashi, don't blame yourself for something he did on his own accord. I'm sure Midoriya stands by his choice. If you want we can scold him together after school." Aizawa replies with a mischievous grin. "Alright Aizawa-sensei. Would it be fine if I stay with him in the infirmary to be there when he wakes up?" Urashi inquires. "Yeah, it's fine." Together, everyone boarded the bus and the ride was largely silent except for occasional small conversation. Everyone changed and reattached their costumes to the wall once they arrived at UA. After gathering his belongings, Urashi headed to the hospital to be present when Midoriya woke. Urashi noticed a thin man with wild blonde hair and a yellow suit as he made his way down the hallway in search of Recovery Girl's office. "Excuse me sir, is there a kid with burned hands and crazy green hair in there?" replied Urashi. "Yes, Izuku Midoriya is in there, you must be Inasa Urashi in class 1 right?" replied the man. "I am, and thank you for informing me. My teacher gave me permission to be here." "Is he awake?" "Yes, he's awake, but Recovery Girl put some of her healing magic on him, so he'll be out for about an hour." "Thank you sir. Have a nice day." "No problem, have a nice day as well." The bell rang out and Urashi heard it while he stood in front of the door. Everybody in their courses was getting up and going to their lockers and other locations. Urashi was standing in front of the nurse's office when Shiozaki recognized him. She said to him, "Urashi, what's wrong?" Oh, Shiozaki. It's my friend, Izuku Midoriya. He got hurt and I wasn't there to save him. There was an attack on the USJ when our class was in session. I passed out from prolonged use of my quirk and Midoriya, he saved everyone and defeated all the villains. But I wasn't there to help him. His body was cold and burned from his quirk. And I couldn't help him." Urashi told her the truth. She questioned him, "Do you still have the rosary I gave you?" He pulled out the rosary and glanced at her, saying, "Why yeah, why? Do you want it back?" She told him, "No, look at the man on the cross." He turned to face a man who was hanging on a cross from a vine crown. Its details were never truly something he noticed. "The man on there is the reason why I am religious. I know you probably aren't religious yourself, but he died on that cross to save everyone of their sins, and he forgave the people. What you told me, Midoriya risked his life to save everyone, and he'll most likely forgive you. I know I would Urashi. If you want I can change my schedule up and we can go out this weekend." He smiled and tucked the rosary back into his shirt. I'd like that, I'd have to change my plans as well, but I'm willing to do it, go out with you." "Thanks Shiozaki, I appreciate your words. Do you think I can get a quick hug before your class starts?" She smiled and blushed a little before answering, sure. Following their brief embrace, Yurashi opens the door to see Midoriya before Shiozaki heads off to her class. Bandaged arms and a blissful expression. As if he was unaware of what he had done to keep everyone safe. His color returned and the heart rate monitor revealed that it was much more normal than it had been when he was chilly in the hospital. Recovery girl put some bandages away and said, you must be Yurashi, as Awa told me you'd be here, take a seat dearie. I know you must care about your friend. Do you want a candy bar? No thank you recovery girl, thank you though. How is he doing? Said Yurashi. He's doing much better than in the back of an ambulance. His body temperature has returned to normal, the same with his heart rate. I used my quirk on him so he'll be out for a bit. I just put the bandages on his arms. With a slight but genuine smile, Yurashi remarked, okay. Thank you for taking care of my friend, recovery girl. I'll go to my regular office now, I'll leave you here to watch over him. Yurashi and Midoriya stared at him till Yurashi spoke and recalled. Recovery girl then exited the room. Man, we've done a lot together Izuku. Spars at the dojo, me recording tricks for you to send to your dad. We grew up together. I don't have any siblings, so I see you like a brother Izuku, like a little brother, even though you're older than me. Yurashi exclaims. I finally got that date with Shiozaki. She gave me some words of advice, and I just hope you can forgive me for not being there for you. I should have helped you take out the villains. Like we thought about at the dojo once we became heroes. The occasional hero duo of Gale Force and Captain Planet. Yurashi giggles. I think you might want to change your hero name soon, don't want to get copyrighted. Yurashi paused and fixed him with a gaze. Everything was dead silent for a brief period. Up until someone knocked on the door. Todoroki was there when the creaky door opened. Oh, Yurashi. You came to see Izuku too. Replied she. Yurashi got up, took a chair for her, and placed it next to him. Yeah. Let me get you a seat. She remarked, he looks kind of beat up. Well yeah, he messed up his hands and froze his body. Why did you call him Izuku? The only other time I heard it was when you didn't know his name and when he woke you up from a nap the other day. Recalling when she last said it, she flushes. She asked, putting a lock of her white hair behind her ear, yes, well, he gave me his permission to call him by it. How's his condition? His body temperature and heart rate are back to normal. Once he woke up recovery girl used her healing quirk on him and wrapped up his arms. Do you have a crush on him? I don't have a crush on him. I can't be concerned over someone and be accused of having an attraction to them. You're right. I think Ishido has a crush on him. He spoke about it on his after-school spar with Hagakure and Ejiro. What do you mean he spoke about it? Like that after he learned to heal a little bit Ishido asked him to go out this weekend. Hopefully he's fully healed by then. As a date. Pointing a thumb at himself, he replied, I don't think a date. More of two friends having out. I've got a date coming up this weekend. Congratulations, who has to suffer their precious time with you? Ha ha. You've got jokes Todoroki. It's with a girl in class 1B, Ibara Shiozaki. Todoroki gives him a direct look and asks, oh the one who rejected you and gave you a necklace. She said yes this time. For a moment I thought you might have been a closeted homosexual. Yurashi answered, oof, got some stingers there Todoroki. You know. Izuku is like a brother to me. I always wanted to be there for him. He was strong and I like that about him. I still feel like I have to protect him for some reason. But he's his own person and I should recognize that. You should. Izuku Midoriya is strong and we have to recognize he will get hurt. We're in the hero course and need to respect him. We can't baby him. You're right Todoroki. Maybe there is some warmth in those cold eyes of yours. I still don't really like you, but I will respect you. Yurashi stated plainly. I can respect that. For some while, the two sat in quiet. Yurashi left Todoroki and Midoriya alone in the bathroom while he went to the loo. Todoroki thought to herself, I should probably get him a water bottle for when he wakes up. It's been approximately 60 minutes since Midoriya woke up, since school ended not too long ago, he should be up any moment. Todoroki scrounged around the water bottles in recovery girl's little refrigerator. She took 3, one each for Yurashi, Midoriya, and herself. Midoriya had awakened up, sat up, and stroked his head with his wrapped hands while she was gazing. Huh? Todoroki. What are you doing here? Replied he. Oh, you're awake. I was here with Yurashi, as all will let us be here to be sure you were okay when you woke up. How do you feel? I've felt better. I'm really thirsty, can you pass me a water bottle? Todoroki said, sure. He threw with an underhanded motion, but the water bottle flew too quickly and struck Midoriya in the face. He rubbed the point of impact and murmured, oh. Thanks, I think I might have a headache as well. Sorry about that, I thought you would have used your arms. Midoriya stood up, saying, it's fine. Everything on him was covered by the blanket with the exception of his arms. It was necessary to remove his top in the back of the ambulance in order to check for any more injuries and to assist warm him up. It escaped Midoriya's attention that he was shirtless. He went to the wash basin and washed his face with the running water. He placed them on the counter after removing the bandages. He moved and controlled the water such that it sparkled and trickled off of him, healing his arms completely and leaving his hands scar-free. After turning off the water, he went to get a towel. "Thanks for the water." It was Frank, put on a shirt. Her words. While Midoriya gasped as she noticed he was shirtless. After hurriedly searching the room for a shirt, he settled on a UAPE shirt. He remarked, his cheeks flushed bright red, "Thanks Todoroki. I'm not really used to showing skin." He seemed anxious. When Urashi opened the door, he spotted his best friend waiting by the wash basin and said, "Izuku. Your arms, they're fine." "Yeah, recovery girl told me after she gave me one of her treatments I should try and heal myself once I woke up since it doesn't get me tired and would be less of a major burn and be fully healed scarless." Urashi exclaimed, "That's great." Before his expression changed to one that was nearly dejected. I'm sorry I wasn't there to help you Izuku. If I was there to help you I could have been there to make sure you didn't pass out and make sure you didn't overexert yourself. I hope you can forgive me for not going to help you." Midoriya flung his arms around Urashi and said, "Inasa, I saw you were dealing with a teleportation quirk villain. I don't feel anything other than gratitude for protecting everyone. You're like a brother to me." "Come on, the hero duo of Gale Force and Captain Planet, right?" The hug was returned by Urashi, who said, "Thank you Izuku. You're like a brother to me as well." And Izuku. "Yeah. You should change your hero name because Captain Planet is already a thing, hahaha." "Is it really?" "Well, that's fine, Shiro and Kaminari gave me some ideas, even Uraraka." Todoroki breaks into the conversation, saying, "I'm just gonna step out and tell everyone you're awake. You want me to grab your things?" Midoriya answers, "Why yeah, sure, thank you Todoroki." Midoriya exhales as Todoroki departs. "Inasa, she saw me without a shirt. The blanket covered my body and I didn't realize I wasn't wearing a shirt, now I'm kind of embarrassed by it." The Urashi says, "Don't be. You're very well built and you should be comfortable with yourself." "Guess what?" "What?" "I've got a date with Shiozaki." "What? Really? How?" "We both decided to move some plans around and we decided it to be later this week." "Congrats Inasa, I knew you had it in you." Midoriya. Was exclaimed by the pupils as they hurried inside. "Class." He answered. "What are you all doing here?" Kaminari said, "We stayed after to make sure you were okay when you woke up." "Yes, it was unbearable to watch our class representative be removed," Kirishima continued. "Deku, you were amazing out there." Exclaimed Uraraka. Mineta walked over to him and hugged Midoriya, saying, "Thanks Midoriya. Asui and I were on the boat and you froze the entire lake and prevented the villains from hurting us." "Thank you." "Mineta, it's not a problem." "You don't need to thank me," Midoriya said in a very humble way. "I couldn't just stand by and see and hear you guys get hurt. I was in a fight or flight state when I saw all of you when I was in the metal box. I chose fight, broke through the metal box and overcharged my quirk. It knocked me out. I made sure to make sure none of the villains hurt you guys and took out that monster the hands guy brought, saying it was strong enough to defeat All Might. But I doubted. He was just bluffing." Pulling him into an embrace, Yaoyorozu remarked, "I'm glad you're okay, Midoriya." In the hug, Mina remarked, "I'm glad too." Everyone gave Midoriya a group hug and expressed their happiness that he was alright. Everyone nodded and left the room. "Thanks guys, but I need to change into some clothes, they cut up my hero outfit to get me warm after I froze my body." Midoriya noticed a plastic bag containing cozy garments that his mother had provided, along with a pomegranate-filled jar. Midoriya left the lesson still in place and tucked it inside his backpack. "Looking nice Izuku." "Thanks Inasa. I take it you won't be doing a spar today?" Shiro replied. "No, and don't upload them, I think that's why they put me in the metal cage, they knew my quirk and assumed I couldn't control metal. But now I can." Shiro said, "I'm sorry Midoriya. It's fine, I'm not gonna hold it against you. But you can record them and send it to me and Inasa, I love your commentaries." "Alright, I'll still do them, but no uploading." "Correct." Ashido questioned, "Midoriya, are we still okay for this weekend?" "Yes of course." Yaoyorozu inquired, "Are we still up for Monday?" "Of course." "Midoriya, Uraraka and I were wondering if you'd be up for a hangout sometime soon." Iida said, "I'd like that, when?" Uraraka answered, "Whenever you want Deku." "I'm up for it, and so is Iida." "You can choose whenever you want, Midoriya," Iida said. Midoriya grinned and said, "I'll let you guys know." "Inasa, do you think you can take me home? I still have a small headache and I'd like for someone to be there for when my mum sees me and asks about it." "Of course. Do you think I can spend the night as well?" It's okay if not, just that you've been through something big and it would be better to talk about it if someone who also experienced it is there as well. I'll text her when we're on the train. The remainder of the class, meantime, noticed that Bakugo wasn't present and that the two were really close, almost like brothers. When Midoriya checked his phone, he discovered that his father, mom, and Bakugo had all left him with several missed calls. Kaken. Hey nerd, I hope all is well with you. It's impossible to have a dead rival. Tomorrow, I'll see you in class. I will crush you. Say hello to your folks. Midoriya said, oh, Kaken is finally being nice. It's kinda weird. Irashi questioned, peering over Midoriya's shoulder, what did he say? When Midoriya handed him the message, she said that it didn't seem like him at all. Irashi was informed by Midoriya that Bakugo isn't always cruel and can be kind when he feels like it. As they ate chunks of pomegranate, the two struck up a conversation on the train about Irashi and his date and Midoriya going out to hang out with folks. When the two arrived at Midoriya's house, Midoriya's mother gave them a chokehold hug. Hello Mrs. Midoriya. Great to see you again. It's like the place never changed. Izuku, what happened today? Are you hurt? The school called and said an accident happened at UA. She exclaimed, sounding nearly terrified. It's good to see you too, Inasa. The school reported that you had some burned hands and were very cold, Midoriya's mother replied, placing her palm on his body and noticing that he was actually rather warm. She then took his hands and found that they were okay. You're fine. Did you two try and play a prank on me? I know your tricks you two. No mom, I just got a lot of help from recovery girl and I healed my arms after that with my water, I already told you I could heal right. She drew him into another embrace, saying, you're right, Izuku. I'm glad you're fine. You too Inasa, get in this hug, you're practically my other son. After the three gave each other hugs, Izuku requested Urashi to stay over so they could discuss. His mum said it was alright. Over dinner, the three of them discussed what was coming up later in the week. When Midoriya told his mother that he would be spending the weekend with Mina, Monday with his deputy representative Yayoi Rozu, and Tuesday with Iida and Uraraka, she was taken aback and delighted to hear that Bakugo had texted her, offering to meet up with Bakugo's mother Mitsuki. Encouraged Inasa to pursue his feelings for the girl after hearing about his failed attempts at asking her out and his subsequent success. After cleaning up, Urashi and Midoriya proceeded to the kitchen to study and complete their homework while Urashi changed into his PE uniform and Midoriya's mother went to wash everything, including Urashi's uniform. After the three were finished, they watched a hero film that Midoriya had requested. Although it was created before Quirk's, it had abilities similar to Quirk's. In the film, a child donning a vibrant outfit battled a man with metal bird wings while swinging through New York City. When the day was over, Midoriya brought out a cot for Inasa to sleep on and the two had a nap together. Midoriya's mother had prepared breakfast the previous day before heading off to work and had left it out for the two of them. After getting ready, they left for class. Thanks for watching guys, that's it for today, so hope you enjoyed this video, if you do please leave a like, share and subscribe. Also don't forget check out our author of this fanfic link and details in description.